What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories.
3 Mick. Chapter 56 A Conqueror's 20,000 elite fell. Marine, even if I want to enter the great prison under the sea, I can't be defeated by you like this, right? After all, he was the character who killed General Akainu. If he was defeated by a mere cannonball like this, I might not even believe him as an actor. Faced with these shells, Yi Yu chose to ignore them. He still sat on his small raft, wrapped Conqueror's defensive cover around the small raft and himself, and moved forward with Conqueror's defensive power. Boom, boom, boom. Countless cannonballs exploded around Yi Yu, producing a large amount of gunpowder smoke. The entire sea level suddenly rose 10 feet, and then swayed from side to side. However, when the smoke dissipated, Yi Yu was still sitting on his boat without even losing a hair. Stupid Marine, you didn't send a general to arrest me quickly. It's a waste of my time. Yi Yu said to himself angrily. Marine headquarters, Sengoku stood on the top of the execution platform and began to observe the situation. When he saw Yi Yu emerging from the smoke unscathed, veins protruded on his forehead and he clenched his fists. As this, the strength that can kill Sasuke. A-hole. Today's pirates, especially the younger generation, are getting stronger and stronger. This kid must be executed. Ace's execution is of great significance, and this kid's public execution is equally significant. Let young people in the future stop dreaming of being pirates. Executing Yi Yu is enough to scare the worst generation. Warring States said with cold eyes. Currently, the entire ocean is boiling since that D. Roger revealed the existence of the great secret treasure during his execution. More and more young people choose pirates instead of Marines. This is what Marine is most worried about. It is also the most troublesome problem of the Warring States period. Charge the first echelon. Warring States picked up the trumpet bug and gave a serious order. After receiving the order, the Marines at the forefront of the battlefield took the lead in charging. These Marines are not ordinary Marines. They are all elites who have been carefully selected and sent to the Marine headquarters. Usually when they are in the branch, each of them is a presence that can be compared with 10. After hearing the Warring States order, these sailors showed no fear in their eyes. They all held weapons in their hands and rushed towards Yi Yu in a dense crowd. Come on, kill Captain Zero of the Whitebeard pirates. Avenge General Sasuke. Justice will prevail. In an instant, the sound of killing shook the sky. The corner of Yi Yu's mouth raised slightly. As expected, they were elites summoned from all over the world. In terms of momentum alone, these Marines were many times stronger than the Marines in the first half of the Grand Route. But, unfortunately, their opponent is themselves. For yourself, so what if you are Marine elites? What if there are many of you? In front of one's own conquerors, just relying on these numbers is meaningless. Buzz. Conqueror's domineering power rose at Yi Yu's feet, and the majestic momentum centered on Yi Yu and swept across all directions in an instant. A vacuum zone was formed around Yi Yu as the center, and the 20,000 Marine elites rushing towards Yi Yu were instantly enveloped. The voices of the Marines who were shouting loudly just now stopped suddenly, and they stopped each other. The atmosphere was extremely silent. A pair of horrified eyes looked at Yi Yu. Doubta's back was covered with sweat. The eyes of the 20,000 Marine elites were all wide open and bloodshot. A sense of fear from the deepest part of the soul rose in the hearts of these Marine elites. A dramatic scene appeared on the battlefield, 20,000 Marine elites. 1/5 of the entire Marine headquarters. They charged towards Yi Yu in a mighty manner, but before they could reach Yi Yu, each one of them stopped moving forward and froze in place motionless. It's not that they don't want to move, it's that when the Conqueror's waves hit them, their legs felt as heavy as lead and they couldn't move at all. Fleet Admiral Sengoku was holding the telescope with trembling hands at this time. Lieutenant General he also came to Warring States' side. Sengoku, that is, Conquerors. I have never seen such a powerful Conquerors. Even One Piece Roger can't do this. Lieutenant General he said with surprised eyes. A-hole. That boy's Conquerors is so strong. I didn't expect this. Sengoku roared. In the previous Marine conference, Yi Yu's abilities were indeed analyzed, and they were aware of the power of Yi Yu's Conquerors, but they did not expect that Yi Yu's Conquerors was far beyond their cognitive scope. Yi Yu needs to dilute Conquerors to expand the area of influence. There are 20,000 elite Marines. No matter how strong Conquerors is, the damage will be greatly reduced by expanding the area of influence of the domineering force. Plus, those are the elites I mobilized from all over the world. I thought that their resistance to Conquerors would be very strong, but, under the premise of Conqueror's dilution, all 20,000 troops were affected. No one had thought of this. The next moment, Sengoku's expression became even weirder, because he discovered that his elite Marines were not only affected, but also oppressed and harmed. Lieutenant General he and even Iron Fist Garp, a tall old man, showed shocked expressions. After seeing the scene, Garp's eyes became rarely serious and he spoke slowly. This kid reminds me of a person, Rox, who once wreaked havoc on the sea. It turns out that just now, Yi Yu continued to increase his Conqueror's efforts. 20,000 Marines had headaches. Under the strong pressure, their internal organs were directly affected, and mouthfuls of blood flowed from their mouths. In the end, all of them fell heavily to the ground and passed out completely. It can be seen from their stiff expressions how horrific things they experienced before they fainted and collapsed. 1 Conquerors, 20,000 elite Marines, all fainted. The hands of the Marines watching the battle on the battlefield couldn't help but tremble. Although they are Marine elites, their psychological quality is far superior to ordinary people. But, one Conquerors caused the entire army of 20,000 Marines to be defeated. This was their first time encountering such a terrifying enemy. They had never even heard of it before. If it weren't for the fact that they were Marine elites, some of them might have been so frightened that they fled on the spot. Is this still a human being? We have 20,000 Marine elites, 1/5 of the troops on the entire battlefield. Just like that, gone. Yi Yu, was this guy the one who killed General Sakazuki? It's so terrifying. What kind of opponent are we facing? The entire Marines were shocked. The Shichibukai who were watching the battle all looked shocked. Mahawk and Heavenly Yaksha Doflamingo's eyes shined brightly. Empress Hancock's pretty face was surprised, her red lips trembling. Does this kind of conquerors really exist in this world? It's really terrifying. Moria on the side widened his eyes with an incredible expression. Is this true? 20,000 troops. Disintegrated in an instant. Is this Marine playing a joke on us? Moria asked suspiciously. However, no one answered him at all. The more powerful people are, the more they will understand Yi Yu's strength, and in their eyes, Moria is just a frog in the well. Chapter 57 Forcing the three generals to take action at the same time. There are nearly 100 hot air balloon birdhouses located in the sky, and they are members of the World Economic News Service. Morgan saw this shocking scene using professional photography equipment on one of the largest birdhouses. Click, click, click. Under the instruction of Morgans, all members of the World Economic News Agency took pictures of Yi Yu. A Conquerors, 20,000 Marine elites fell to the ground directly. Such a shocking scene, the World Economic News Agency did not want to miss any moment. Although I don't know why Yi Yu came alone in the Whitebeard pirates. However, I have to say that Yi Yu's strength is truly terrifying. Face the entire Marine alone. And just one Conquerors knocked down 20,000 elite Marines. How many people in this world can do this? Morgan said excitedly as he looked at the photo in his hand. On the battlefield, warring states frowned tightly. The kid in front of me is so powerful that ordinary Marines have no effect on him. Aokiji, Kizaru, Momosugi. The three of you go and arrest that boy. Fleet Admiral Sengoku said solemnly. When the three generals heard this, they looked surprised. Could I have heard wrongly? Although that boy is indeed very strong, with strength above that of a general, and also possesses amazing conquerors. But, on their own territory, 3 Marine generals were dispatched at once to encircle and suppress a young man. This is really the first time I have seen him. Even if Whitebeard came, he wouldn't be given this kind of treatment. The crane beside him also had a solemn expression. Go ahead, the 2 generals may not be able to defeat him. Arrest him quickly. If we wait for the Whitebeard pirates to come and join up with that kid, we Marine will become very passive. Lieutenant General he looked at Yi Yu and said with a frown. Even Garp on the side showed a serious expression. Sengoku, how about I go? Garp asked, rolling up his sleeves. You are Marine's hero. If we deal with a brat like this, I'm afraid the world will laugh at us Marine. Besides, the Whitebeard pirates haven't shown up yet. It's better for you and me to guard the back of the base camp and hold on to the last line of defense. Sengoku's glasses reflected a white light and murmured. The 3 generals did not dare to be careless when they heard that even Iron Fist Garp was so nervous about Yi Yu. A flash of yellow light suddenly appeared, and Kizaru disappeared directly on the spot, followed by Aokiji and Momosugi, also flying in the direction of Yi Yu on moonwalk. Kizaru, who possesses the shining fruit, is extremely fast and arrives at the battlefield first. It's so scary. You have such strength at such a young age. You must be a monster. The 8-foot Magatama. Go to hell, you terrible guy. Kizaru murmured with a white light reflected from his brown eyes. A ray of yellow light appeared in front of Yi Yu, a lazy voice came, and then yellow light bombs appeared in the sky. At lightning speed, they bombarded Yi Yu wildly. A burst of thick smoke was aroused around Yi Yu. Buzz. Conqueror's defense automatically turned on, and ripples appeared one after another on the Yi Yu barrier. Feeling the damage from the surrounding explosions, it was countless times stronger than the previous Marine artillery fire. It was indeed the Marine general who took action personally. Before the explosion completely disappeared, an ice bird appeared again, and all the places it passed turned into ice. With a bird's cry, it slammed into Yi Yu. Marine General Aokiji, there is still cold air on his right arm, like puffs of white smoke, which is very strange. At the same time, Momosugi finally arrived near Yi Yu, squinting his eyes and locking Yi Yu tightly, the black sword Kinpira in his hand emitting a strange red light. Flying to kill the red light. A red sword energy also struck at Yi Yu. While Yi Yu's own barrier rippled, the blow directly penetrated a distance of 20 centimeters from Yi Yu's Conqueror's barrier. In an instant, the Marines regained their morale. General. The general has taken action. 3 generals are dispatched at the same time. How great. Yes, we don't have to be afraid at all, we have 3 generals sitting in charge. The Marines opened their mouths wide and said excitedly. Morgans in the sky also rushed to take pictures. At one time, 3 Marine generals were dispatched. This level of treatment, are the Marines starting to be afraid? Doflamingo, who was on the battlefield, showed a shocked expression, and his eyes moved under his burgundy sunglasses. Does this guy Yi Yu want to prove his strength by defeating 3 generals at the same time? Doflamingo thought in his heart as his burgundy sunglasses reflected a ray of light. On the battlefield, Yi Yu's Conqueror's barrier finally stopped fluctuating. It is indeed a general-level combat capability. If the three generals attack at the same time, even the strongest man in the world, Whitebeard, may not be able to gain any advantage. The corners of Yi Yu's mouth raised slightly. That would be interesting. Being besieged by three generals and sent to the great prison under the sea is more realistic, isn't it? The Marines are finally taking action. As a thank you, I have to perform my best. Magma Dragon Fist. After saying that, Yi Yu simply used his Devil Fruit ability to strike the nearest Kizaru with a blow to the Magma Fire Dragon. Roar. There was a dragon roar, and a fire dragon appeared. The dragon's body was still dripping with magma. Every drop dropped into the sea would make a sizzling sound and evaporate a large amount of water vapor. With a bang, he rushed towards General Kizaru. General Kizaru's eyes showed a shocked look. It seems that the report that General Sakazuki was turned into lava is true, and he really died at the hands of the kid in front of him. His own defense is not as strong as Sakazuki's. If such a terrifying attack hits oneself, one will definitely die. A flash of yellow light flashed, and Kizaru's body directly turned into a yellow light wave, and it was transferred to other places in an instant. However, the magma fire dragon did not stop, but changed its direction and flew towards Momosugi on the side. Momosugi's beautiful eyes showed a look of horror. He was not as fast as Kizaru. If he was hit from the front, he would definitely die or be disabled. But the speed of the magma fire dragon is too fast for me, and I can't avoid it at all. Momosugi tightly grasped his famous sword Conqueror with his slender fingers, placed the sword across his chest, and the dark-armed domineering energy wrapped around the blade. This is also the only thing Momosugi can do at the moment. The ice cube bursts into the pheasant's mouth. Just when they were about to arrive in front of Momosugi, an ice phoenix appeared again and collided with Yohane's magma fire dragon. Sizzle. In an instant, water vapor rose everywhere and mist filled the air. The next moment, a magma fire dragon appeared in the heavy fog of water vapor, holding an ice phoenix in its mouth. A large amount of steam was emitted from the mouth of the magma fire dragon, and the ice phoenix was also constantly melting. Roar. A dragon roared, moving forward again. Chapter 58 Undersea Great Prison Plan. Aokiji showed a shocked expression. I didn't expect to lose so directly with my own move, Pheasant Mouth Ice Phoenix. Just one face-to-face encounter and he was cracked. The boy in front of me has magma ability that is far superior to Akainu. Although the Ice Phoenix did not stop the attack of the Yoyu Magma Fire Dragon, it bought Momosugi a little time. Momosugi used this time to avoid the fatal attack. Momosugi stepped on his moonwalk and moved dozens of meters into the air. The Magma Fire Dragon collided with the land under Momosugi's feet. The scorching temperature made the surrounding air elusive. The previous position of Momosugi was directly corroded and burned, creating a huge pit, with rolling lava bubbling inside. General Momosugi felt that his back was covered with sweat and his clothes were completely soaked. If Aokiji hadn't snatched precious time for him to dodge, and this blow had hit him head-on, he would have died even if he had armed body protection. The surrounding Marines, seeing such a shocking scene, all froze in place and kept swallowing their saliva. This kid actually withstood the attacks of 3 Marine generals. General Marine, which one is not as terrifying as a monster? The 3 of them dispatched at the same time, but they didn't capture Yi Yu. This kid is the one piece of the new era. Sengoku, Garp, Lieutenant General He, who was located behind the Marine headquarters, had serious eyes, staring at Yi Yu on the battlefield, each one thoughtfully. Morgans above the sky was swallowing his saliva crazily. Yi Yu's strength has once again refreshed my knowledge, Morgans said with emotion. As Mahawk, Shichibukai's eagle eye, his sharp eyes like an eagle reveal a bright light. Doflamingo licked his lips with excitement on his face. Empress Hancock directly opened her red lips, her face full of shock. What a terrible person, can he exist beyond the 4 emperors? Moonlight Moria looked confused. Based on his own knowledge, he could not imagine that a young man under 20 years old could fight against 3 generals. Just as Warring States looked at Yi Yu solemnly, a Marine intelligence officer once again told Warring States a shocking news. That's Kaido, discovered on Krikana Island. Kaido, who claims to be immortal, has been captured by Marines so many times. Even if he is hanged, his chains will be broken. Even if he is put on the guillotine, his guillotine will be shattered. Even if he is stabbed with a spear, the spear will break. Kaido of all beasts. The most powerful creature in the world, Kaido with abnormal defense, was beaten to a bloody pulp and passed out on Krikana Island. According to the intelligence investigation, it is very likely that Yi Yu did it. A bright light reflected on Sengoku's glasses and he clenched his fists. That kid is more terrifying than Whitebeard. I'm afraid he has reached the level of One Piece. No matter what, we must capture that kid this time. We must not let him go. On the battlefield, the 3 generals tightened their eyes and stared at Yi Yu closely. Momosugi spoke first. This kid not only has amazing defense, he also possesses Sakazuki's magma ability. He must not be underestimated. Aokiji changed from his usual lazy demeanor. His defense must be broken, otherwise, we will not be able to win. Kizaru's face was solemn under his brown sunglasses. Where's the scary guy? Let's focus our attacks on one point. After saying that, the 3 generals took action again, creating 3 phantoms in front of Yi Yu. This time it was Momosugi who took the lead in attacking. The Conqueror in his hand shone brightly, and the rich armament color turned the blade extremely black. Holding the knife in both hands, the tip of the knife was pointed at Yi Yu, and a sharp dark red slash appeared in the shape of a half arc, carrying a strong wind and hitting Yi Yu heavily. Wind arc slash. The dark red slashing light struck Yi Yu's Conqueror's barrier. A strong wind instantly blew around Yi Yu, and the Conqueror's barrier rippled on the slashing part. Now, attack part of my slashing attack. Momosuke tightly held the kinpira in his hand and said seriously with beautiful eyes. Aokiji's body was so cold that he suddenly gave birth to 4 ice spears. Under the sunlight, the tips of the spears sparkled. 2-thorn spear of ice. The 4 ice spears all focused their attacks on one point, facing Yi Yu's Conqueror's barrier, and flew past the turbulent part at high speed. Wherever it went, the air seemed to be frozen solid, and it hit the area where Yi Yu was slashed by Momosuke just now. The ripples became more turbulent. Almost at the same moment, a yellow light appeared in the sky, and countless dazzling light bullets appeared, all of which rushed towards Yi Yu's Conqueror's barrier and the part that was attacked before. Thousands of light bombs exploded densely in front of Yi Yu's Conqueror's shock site, and Yi Yu's Conqueror's barrier ripples spread violently. Smoke suddenly filled the area around Yi Yu, and explosions continued. Feeling the ripples of the Conqueror's barrier, Yi Yu nodded with satisfaction. For an attack of this level, defeating him was enough. Forget it, let's use one last move to let the Marines feel it as a farewell. The smoke cleared and Yi Yu emerged from the smoke. Through the appearance fruit, he changed his appearance, and now Yi Yu has deliberately left fake blood marks on his face. After the 3 generals saw Yi Yu's state, they all showed excitement. Yi Yu is not invincible, he can be defeated. Momosuke said excitedly. Yes, his defensive weakness has been discovered by us. Kizaru said with a smile on his face. The simultaneous attacks of the 3 generals are not something you, a young man, can resist. Aokiji murmured, staring at Yi Yu closely. Fleet Admiral Sengoku held the telescope in his hand and his brows finally relaxed. No one can face the attacks of 3 generals at the same time. Looking at everyone's reaction, Yi Yu smiled slightly. It seemed that his performance was not bad. Now his plan to advance the city can be implemented smoothly. However, before that, in order to make it more realistic, I still have to leave a big gift for Marine. Yi Yu raised his hand slightly. Damn Marines, don't think I can be defeated so easily. Eat my last attack, Yi Yu said pretending to be angry. In fact, I was laughing so hard inside that when I got to the great prison under the sea, not only would Ace be rescued, but the entire criminals on the 6th floor would be released by me. At that time, all the criminals in the great prison under the sea will fight against the Whitebeard pirates and make Malinfando miserable. He also has the criminals from the great prison under the sea to take the lead, while the Whitebeard pirates only need to pick up the slack from behind. This is the battle plan that Yi Yu came up with that can not only rescue Ace, but also allow the Whitebeard pirates to regain their face by fighting in front of Marine, and also minimize the casualties of the Whitebeard pirates. Let Marine's war to annihilate the Whitebeard pirates be turned into a defensive war, and let the whole world know the consequences of daring to provoke the Whitebeard pirates. Even Marine, the overlord of this sea, must make him pay the price. Chapter 59. The 3 generals joined forces to attack. Dragon breaking ice fist. The temperature around Yi Yu suddenly dropped, and there were layers of cold air on his shoulders, and the cold breath turned into a long dragon. With a dragon's roar, the air seemed to freeze. Flying towards the 3 generals again. The expressions of the 3 generals changed drastically, and they were collectively confused. Kizaru opened his mouth in shock, looking at Aokiji with a look of disbelief on his face and murmuring. This kid is really a monster. He actually has your freezing ability. If Kizaru knew, these tricks are just the tip of the iceberg of Yi Yu. Yi Yu also possesses General Kizaru's Devil Fruit abilities, and the most terrifying thing is that these abilities of Yi Yu can be integrated with Conqueror's. Kizaru's jaw will definitely drop in shock. What is now presented to the 3 generals are just some of Yi Yu's most rubbish ordinary attacks. Among the 3 generals, Momosuke, the weakest, showed a fearful look. His beautiful eyes looked at Yi Yu dully, and his red lips slowly opened. What a scary kid. He actually has 2 terrifying abilities, lava and freezing. What on earth is going on? Even for a well-informed general like Momosuke, Yi Yu was completely shocked at this moment. General Aokiji was even more confused, his eyes widened, and he couldn't believe the scene in front of him. When did this kid get his Devil Fruit ability? At the same time, he possesses Sakazuki and his own Logia Devil Fruit ability. Is this kid a devil? The entire Marines instantly became restless. How is it possible? If a person eats 2 devil fruits at the same time, wouldn't he die? Having the devil fruits of 2 generals at the same time, is this kid really a devil? Warring States on the battlefield showed an extremely surprised look, his eyes were strange and abnormal, staring closely at Yi Yu on the battlefield. What's going on with this kid? Warring States asked seriously. Staff officer he had the same strange expression, frowning and narrowing his eyes. A guy who has 2 devil fruits at the same time. Is it because of some special physique? He said suspiciously. Just when Marine was shocked, Morgans in the sky widened his eyes, his shock was beyond words. This kid can also shake fruits. That's right. According to the original report on the demise of the Blackbeard pirates, those people died of comminuted fractures. At that time, I also suspected that it was caused by the Junjun fruit. However, the Junjun fruit was obviously eaten by Whitebeard, so it was finally determined that Blackbeard and the others died from a powerful physical attack. Looking at it now, it may have been the shock ability that killed Blackbeard in the first place. This kid has a variety of devil fruit abilities. Incredible guy. Morgans patted his forehead hard and said with a look of realization. On the battlefield, after Yi Yu released the powerful ice dragon, he once again gathered the power of the Junjun fruit. Make a fist with one hand, and a white flashing ball cover appears on the fist, and the ball cover shines brightly, emitting strange vibration energy from time to time. Different from Whitebeard's method of use, Yi Yu directly threw this terrifying shock ball cover, Conqueror's power, and rushed towards the three generals in an instant. The Shichibukai were collectively shocked. Especially Heavenly Yaksha Doflamingo, who licked his lips and showed indescribable excitement. Is this the strength that Yi Yu wants to show me? Sure enough. It's so terrifying. Empress Hancock had a solemn look on her face. A strong person of this level was so powerful that it had surpassed her own knowledge. Mahawk is also shocked in his heart. He is obsessed with swordsmanship and knows the difficulty of the swordsmanship. He must concentrate all his energy on developing swordsmanship and has no spare time to develop other things. And Yi Yu is not only a master of swordsmanship, but also has wonderful control over devil fruit abilities. This shows how terrifying his talent is. Even Rox, who once almost destroyed the world, is not as powerful as Mr. Yi Yu in front of him in terms of talent. It is truly an honor to be born in the same era as a strong man like Yi Yu and to witness his grace. Moonlight Moria froze on the spot, with a look of confusion and confusion. How is it possible? How is it possible in this world that someone has three devil fruit abilities at the same time? From behind, even Iron Fist Garp swallowed in surprise when he saw this scene. That kid actually possesses Whitebeard's devil fruit power. This scary boy reminds me of a person, the Rox who once dominated the sea. Garp said in shock with serious eyes. After hearing the name Rox, Lieutenant General he frowned even more during the Warring States period. Veins popped up on Warring States' forehead, he clenched his fists, his eyes were solemn, and he roared with a war trumpet. No matter what method is used, this kid must be captured alive and sent to the great prison under the sea. This is of great significance to us Marine. This kind of strange kid must be studied carefully. Maybe Vegapunk can find out this kid's special physique. After hearing this, Yi Yu raised the corners of his mouth slightly. This is exactly what I want. After hearing this, the three generals showed helpless expressions. The Warring States Fleet Admiral really dared to say that facing a powerful opponent like Yi Yu, it was not easy to kill him, let alone capture him alive. Ice Cube Stormbeak. Aokiji gathered the cold air on his right arm, released an ice bird, and collided with Yoyu's ice dragon. Kizaru sent out his Amankongan sword from his own hand, and together with Momosugi, they released a combination of slashes and rushed towards the shock energy shield thrown by Yi Yu in the air. Boom. The ice bird and the ice dragon were the first to collide, and they were constantly fighting in the sky. After the collision, the broken ice blocks fell from the sky. Each piece of ice falling to the ground can produce a piece of frozen ground, causing the surrounding air temperature to plummet. The shock energy shield collided with the two slashes and exploded, causing a reaction and making an extremely terrifying sound. Just like the explosion of a nuclear bomb, there was a muffled sound, and the entire Malinbando shook. The center of the explosion blew everything around the marine base to pieces. If those marines were not far away from the explosion site, they would undoubtedly be wiped out on the spot. The explosion stirred up a lot of dust from the ruins. After the explosion, there was a dragon roar and an ice dragon emerged from the ruins and rushed towards Momosugi, the weakest of the three generals. Is it even more powerful than General Aokiji's freezing ability? Before he could think too much, the blade of the saber in Momosugi's hand once again gathered a high-level armament color. With one blow, Liu Ying's domineering energy appeared, and the air seemed to be cut apart, and he rushed towards Yi Yu's ice crystal phoenix. Boom. The ice dragon exploded directly and shattered a large number of ice blocks, but still rushed in the direction of Momosugi due to the influence of inertia. The cold was overwhelming, and even though he was armed with body protection, Momosugi's left arm was cut open by pieces of broken ice, causing blood to flow immediately. A white cold air came out of his left arm, and a thick layer of ice formed on the entire left arm. The blood on the wound was directly frozen, and the arm became extremely stiff. Momosugi. Aokiji frowned. Obviously, Yi Yu's freezing ability is better than his own. My ice phoenix is no match for the ice dragon released by Yi Yu. Momosugi gritted his teeth and his eyes were serious. Leave me alone, now is the critical time to defeat that kid. After saying that, Momosugi held the blade of his sword tightly with his other arm, and Ryu Sakura's haki was released again. Ito-style Shura red slash. Momosugi looked serious, and even though he was injured, he forcibly released his strongest attack. Whoosh. A red sword light pierced the sky, and the atmosphere seemed to be cut open. At the speed of thunder, it arrived at Yi Yu's side in an instant. He is more injured than me now. We only need to attack and break his last defense. Don't worry about me, Momosugi shouted loudly. This sentence also woke up Aokiji and Kizaru beside them. Now Yi Yu's situation is worse than theirs. He just released 2 attacks at once, so he must be at the end of his strength. Although Momosugi was injured, he launched his own attack. As long as he and Kizaru's attack could keep up, form a combo, and hit the same part of Yohane, the battle would be over. Use our strongest attack, Aokiji shouted loudly. Chapter 60 Halu Stone. Useless to me. Secure Asset Portal, your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. Kizaru's face was solemn, and the light on his hands was strong, emitting a dazzling yellow light. What a terrible little devil, I will send you to hell. 8-foot beautiful Magatama. Circular light bullets appeared densely next to Kizaru. With a command, they all rushed towards Yu at the speed of light. Aokiji also made a strange sound from his body, and the whole body was so cold that the ground under his feet turned into ice. Ice Age. The powerful chill rushed in the direction of Yu, so large that even the sea nearby was frozen. The surrounding marines were shocked, and they all swallowed their saliva. The three generals are going to be serious. Is this a battle between monsters? It's so terrifying. Warring States, who was behind Marine Fando, squinted his eyes and still had a solemn look on his face. I hope the three generals can suppress that boy this time. Otherwise, we old guys will have to take action. Crane and Garp also looked solemn, looking in the direction of the battlefield, looking thoughtful. Empress Hancock also showed a shocked look. The three generals' all-out attack is truly worthy of its reputation. Moonlight Moria smiled ferociously. Ha 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 ha. This is what happens when you offend Marine, on this sea. Marine is the real overlord of the sea. Heavenly Yaksha Doflamingo looked solemn. Mahawk looked calm. He had witnessed Yi Yu's terrifying blow with his own eyes. Mahawk believed that even the three generals could not be Yi Yu's opponent. Yi Yu has his own plan. Just as Hawkeye expected, Yi Yu looked at the three powerful forces and showed a satisfied smile. Isn't this the way to look? Three powerful forces arrived in front of Yi Yu in a flash. When Kizaru's light bomb exploded and caused ruins on the ground, Yi Yu directly used his appearance fruit and then lay down on the ground. Above. It's really tiring to perform with three generals in front of so many people. After the performance, I can finally reward myself and take a good rest. After using the fruit's ability to make himself look like he was seriously injured, Yi Yu squinted his eyes directly on the ground and prepared to sleep. The three generals panted violently. The smoke dissipated and Yi Yu's figure was revealed. After seeing Yi Yu injured and lying on the ground, the three generals slowly exhaled. If such a powerful guy still fails to fall after receiving their strongest blow, then they really have nothing to do. Behind Marine Fando, the nervous Sengoku finally breathed a sigh of relief. Three generals are beating up a newcomer who has just appeared in the sea. If he can't beat him again, Marine will be really embarrassed. So Warring States once again took up the war trumpet bug. This kid is of great significance to us Marine. We must send him to the 6th floor of the great prison under the sea and keep him under tight confinement. The Warring States period has decided not to execute Yi Yu yet, but to wait until the war is over before handing Yi Yu over to Vegapunk, a scientist at the World Government Marine Headquarters, to be used for transformation research like Tyrant Bear. Heavenly Yaksha Doflamingo showed a puzzled expression. Did Yi Yu, this guy, fail? Sure enough, the party representing justice is still the overlord of this sea, Marine. Eagle Eye Mahawk's sharp eyes like an eagle began to turn left and right. Yi Yu's strength was definitely more than that, and Yi Yu deliberately lost, so it can be inferred that everything was going according to this kid's plan. Thinking of this, Mahawk's eyes became even sharper. He was just waiting for Yi Yu to give the order and immediately turned against Marine. Just after the Warring States period issued the order, a group of sailors came to Yi Yu with various sea tower stone shackles in their hands, and hurriedly cuffed them. The layers of sea floor stone handcuffs turned Yi Yu into a dumpling in an instant. Yi Yu didn't think it was funny. For him, no amount of shackles would have any effect. My own conquerors are 100 times more powerful than Lu Ying. Moreover, he can create conquerors completely with his own thoughts. With his precise control of conquerors, it is easy to infiltrate conquerors into the sea floor stone. The number of sea floor stones has no effect on me at all. Listen up, you must hand this guy over to Magellan personally, and you must see him locked into the great prison on the 6th floor of the sea with your own eyes. Warring States said with a serious face. The Warring States period specifically handed over this matter to General Yamanaka. Under the supervision of General Yamanaka, the warship escorting Yi Yu slowly sailed towards the great prison on the bottom of the sea. After Yi Yu left, the entire marine began to clean up the battlefield. The 20,000 Marines who passed out alone gave Fleet Admiral Sengoku a headache. Marine who was knocked unconscious by Yi Yu's conquerors, no matter what method he used, it would be impossible for him to wake up in 3 days. The battle with the Whitebeard pirates has not yet begun, but 1/5 of the number of Marines on his side has been lost, which gives Sengoku a huge headache. After Yi Yu made such a fuss, the winning rate against the Whitebeard pirates dropped again. The entire marine was once again filled with a solemn atmosphere, and everyone was staring at the sea in front of them. The marine gate previously used for defense had also been damaged and could not be repaired in the short term. Sengoku held the telescope in his hand and looked straight ahead with serious eyes, always observing the movements of the Whitebeard pirates. You can read more daily new novels on fictionzone.net. Both sites shared the same login details so you don't need to sign up again. Chapter 61 Iron Wall. Secure Asset Portal, your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. A huge warship sailed on the coast of Malinfando. At this time, Yi Yu was lying on the marine warship and smiled. Now he could easily enter the 6th floor of the great prison under the sea. Only with the help of the powerful power of the great prison under the sea can the casualties of the Whitebeard pirates be minimized. After all, behind Marine, there is a more terrifying and powerful force hidden. As for their strength, even I, as a time traveler, don't know. CP Organization, 5 Elders, the power of Vegapunk technology, and that, old monster I am. You have to consider whether these unknown elements will get involved. God knows if someone is going to smash the Marine headquarters. Will the forces behind it get involved? Lying on the deck, with the sun at just the right angle, Yi Yu, who was thinking about it, actually fell asleep on the warship. However, Yi Yu, who possesses the appearance fruit, appears to be in a state of unconsciousness after being injured. Huo Shaoshan on the side took a puff of his cigar and looked Yi Yu up and down. I have to say that Yi Yu's performance just now really surprised him. Braving the world alone in the Marine headquarters, first a Conqueror stunned the 20,000 elite Marines. In the end, it was only with the joint efforts of the 3 Marine generals that they managed to defeat Yi Yu. It is really rare to have such strength and courage at such a young age. The young man in front of me must have already surpassed the 4 emperors. Thinking of the previous scene where Yi Yu made a fuss about Marine Fando, Huo Shaoshan unconsciously broke out in cold sweat on his forehead. Hey, you two, add some shackles from Halu stone to him. Once this terrifying guy finds a chance, we will all be ruined by the sea. Huo Shaoshan was a little wary, so to be on the safe side, he decided to add some more shackles of sea tower stones to Yi Yu. When the 2 soldiers heard this, they immediately looked horrified and took out a large number of sea stone handcuffs and handcuffed Yi Yu. It didn't take long to get from the Marine headquarters to the impelled down city. With the help of the triangular ocean current, the warship quickly saw the impelled down city ahead. The outline of impelled down, which was just a small black dot, gradually became clearer. You can even see the Warden Magellan waiting on the ground floor of the great prison under the sea, as well as Hannibal and other senior officials with a big belly. The warship finally docked. Yi Yu, who woke up, also began to take stock of the situation in the impelled down city. The impelled down city, which is known as an iron-walled city, could feel the gloomy atmosphere coming from inside even before entering. After the fire was about to go down, Yamanaka saluted each other with Magellan, Hannibal and others, and then looked at Yi Yu again. This guy is not that powerful. Huo Shaoshan blew out a smoke ring with a solemn look on his face. Under the influence of the poisonous fruit, Magellan, holding his stomach, looked in the direction of Yi Yu. His first impression was that Yi Yu was too young. I can't believe this kid could actually get Warring States Fleet Admiral to call me personally and ask me to escort him to the 6th floor of the great prison under the sea. Prison Warden Magellan said with squinted eyes. Yan Nan exhaled a heavy puff of smoke and said slowly, you don't know, this guy is a conqueror in the Marine headquarters. He knocked out 20,000 Marines. In the end, the 3 generals joined forces and were lucky enough to arrest him. Magellan had a look of shock on his face after hearing this. The Warring States period Fleet Admiral did not tell him this, but kept telling him to personally lock him into the 6th floor of the great prison under the sea. Now, Magellan finally knows the good intentions of Warring States Fleet Admiral. Hannibal on the side was even more stunned after hearing this. What Yamanaka said just now completely subverted his own understanding. What did you say? Is this kid so powerful? This kind of strength can be ranked high even on the 6th floor of the great prison where legendary pirates are stationed. Hannibal he stared at Yi Yu and shouted as he looked at a monster. Yi Yu smiled contemptuously in his heart, as his true strength had not been shown yet. When they reach the 6th floor, let these guys see their true strength. By then, it's never too late to be surprised. Magellan directly pushed away Hannibal, who was standing in front of him, looking like his boss, and came to Huo Shaoshan's side. I know, I will work with you to escort this kid to the 6th floor of the great prison under the sea. Magellan said with solemn eyes. Magellan led the way, Yi Yu was in the middle, and Yamanaka was at the rear, and everyone rushed to the great prison under the sea. It was my first time to visit Huo Shaoshan, the great prison under the sea, and I curiously looked at this huge and gloomy prison. As the warden, Magellan was also very proud to be burned. Yamanaka will explain everything here. This is the 1st floor of the sea. All criminals must be baptized here before being imprisoned in the great prison under the sea. The so-called baptism means using 100-degree boiling water to steam and disinfect the prisoners who are about to be imprisoned. Putting Yi Yu into a boiling pool with a temperature of over 100 degrees Celsius, Yi Yu just laughed. For him, this temperature was not even suitable for a hot bath. After Yi Yu's baptism, Magellan took Huo Shaoshan into the 1st underground floor, Crimson Hell. Feeling the gloomy atmosphere of Crimson Hell, Yamanaka frowned slightly. Magellan saw Huo Shaoshan's expression and explained it again. This is the underground level, also known as Crimson Hell. Those detained here are criminals with less serious crimes. The prisoners will be chased by poisonous spiders and jailers and run back and forth. In the end, they will be bleeding from the leaves and grass, and they will be tortured in endless pain. Magellan said proudly. Huo Shaoshan held a cigar in his mouth and looked at the forest in the distance. The leaves of those trees were as sharp as blades. The grass showed sharp edges like needles. Even Huo Shaoshan took a deep breath from his cigar and slowly exhaled it, showing a solemn expression. These were just criminals with relatively minor crimes. Chapter 62. The Vicious Prisoner, Magellan comes to fight. Secure Asset Portal, your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. Everyone continued to walk down, took the elevator, and walked down. Magellan and Hannibal continued to explain the Huoshao mountain. Huo Shaoshan only felt that the prisoner's environment became worse the further down he went. Even Huo Shaoshan shuddered, it was really a hell. Yan Man Huo Shaoshan took a puff of his cigar, narrowed his eyes, and thought with emotion. This is a hell of beasts. The prisoners on this floor know that sooner or later they will become food for beasts, and they don't even have the strength to be afraid. This is starvation hell, where all the vicious criminals with a bounty of more than 50 million belly are imprisoned. However, the heat coming up from the scorching hell below makes this level extremely hot. Coupled with the torture of water and hunger strike, the prisoners are extremely hot. It's already half dead. Yan Man Huo Shaoshan felt increasingly uneasy. He put out the cigar in his hand and looked around. It was really getting crueler as he went down. Under the explanations of Magellan and Hannibal, everyone finally arrived at the 6th floor of the great prison under the sea. Upon reaching the 6th floor, even Magellan, the warden, couldn't help but become serious. This is the little-known 6th level prison, Eternal Hell. The prisoners here are either death row prisoners or major criminals serving life sentences. Among them are monster pirates who were so vicious that they were erased from history, and there are also famous legendary figures. Because the prisoners on this floor have done many evil things and committed some extremely cruel incidents, they were covered up by the government and even deliberately concealed in the newspapers. Magellan said with great solemnity. Different from the noisy scenes in the prison before, the lights here are dim and it seems extremely quiet, as if there are no criminals here at all. Yan Nan looked up and down Huo Shaoshan, becoming cautious in his heart unconsciously. Don't worry, they can't escape on the 6th floor. Don't be afraid, come with me. Magellan walked at the front and said. Yi Yu became interested. This was the prison where Ace was imprisoned, and it was finally here. Following Magellan, under the dim light I could only see clearly the corridor ahead and the cells closest to me on both sides. There was a sound of footsteps in the prison, breaking the long silence on the 6th floor. The leader, Magellan, began to explain the key points of Huo Shaoshan, the criminals on the 6th floor of the great prison under the sea. The criminals imprisoned here are all vicious men on the sea. This one is the former Shichibukai Sand Crocodile. He once tried to steal the power of a country. He was later defeated by Straw Hat Luffy. Passing by a dark cell, Magellan slowed down and began to introduce Huo Shaoshan. Huo Shaoshan looked inside the cell, and it was indeed dark for a while. Shake, 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 the sound of shackles hitting the ground came from the dark prison room of Crocodile. Crocodile moved his face close to the cell door, and an unhappy voice came. Magellan, you guy, if you don't stay well in your warden's office, what are you doing here? Crocodile, who had his back hair, said unhappily. After seeing Yi Yu next to Magellan, he became slightly interested. I've never seen such a boy before. Crocodile looked at Yi Yu with curiosity. Magellan ignored Crocodile and continued his introduction. In this large room is San Juan the Wolf, one of the legendary criminals whose actions were so brutal that they had to be erased from history. Then he came to one cell after another, pointing to the cells inside and starting to introduce them. This is the most vicious female prisoner, Crescent Moon Hunter Katrine Diame. This is the Basked Chote. The one in the back is the King of Evil. The Bad Wolf, the Big Wine Barrel, and the Crescent Hunter also looked towards Magellan, and they all showed surprised expressions when they saw Yi Yu. A little kid was actually arrested and placed on the 6th floor. He was personally escorted by the warden and Lieutenant General Marine. This can only show that Marine's strength is not as strong as before. It's really funny that a little kid has turned into a heinous criminal to Marine. This is Ace who will be executed soon, Magellan said, pointing to a cell. It could be seen that Ace's hands and feet were handcuffed by huge seafloor stone handcuffs, and he looked tired. Ace looked up at Magellan and saw Yi Yu behind Magellan. However, when Yi Yu came out of the mountain, Ace had already been arrested, and he didn't know the captain of the 0 Division of the Whitebeard pirates. Boring guy. Ace cursed at Magellan and continued to remain silent. Continuing walking deeper, Magellan pointed at a guy in uniform. This is Shiryu, the former warden of the same name. What's frozen inside this is Waldo, the world destroyer. This is the descendant of the devil, a former crew member of the Roger Pirates, Bullet. Bullet looked at Yi Yu behind Magellan, showing a disdainful look. Has Marine fallen to this level? He's just a little kid, and he's so arrogant. Magellan, you will be easier to manage from now on. Any minor character can enter the 6th floor, ha ha ha. Bullet said mockingly to Magellan. Shut up, you crazy guy. Magellan yelled at Bullet. Bullet showed no anger at all. What are you talking about, Magellan? If you have the ability, let me out for a fight. Bullet bulged his muscles and licked his lips as he said. It can be heard that this bellicose guy is really eager to fight in his heart. Let you out. Don't say such stupid things again in the future, Bullet. There is only one possibility for all of you here to let you out, and that is when you execute the execution. Magellan yelled at the arrogant criminals around him to show his identity as the warden. Chapter 63 I will control the trend of the world. Moving forward, Magellan's fire Yamanaka will continue to introduce. The further he walked inside, the colder the atmosphere inside Huo Shaoshan felt. He lit a cigar again and looked around with vigilant eyes. The great prison under the sea is indeed an iron wall. So many vicious criminals are actually being imprisoned here. If Marine did not have this ironclad wall, there is no doubt that the world would be in complete chaos. The one in the innermost room is even more powerful. He is the aloof Red Earl Redfield. The guy who once relied on his own strength to keep pace with Roger One Piece and Edward Newgate the Whitebeard. Yamanaka swallowed his saliva and showed an extremely solemn expression. The criminals held in the great prison under the sea are not ordinary strong. Even the legendary Red Earl has been imprisoned here for so many years. If the Red Earl were not imprisoned, the world would probably be in chaos. Huo Shaoshan curiously looked at the Red Earl in the prison. In the dim environment, he could only make out a rough outline. After hearing Magellan's introduction to himself, Redfield's expression remained calm. But when the Red Earl looked at Yi Yu, he showed a slightly surprised look. How do you feel? That kid is a bit unusual. As a true strong man in the sea, the Red Count had reached the pinnacle of knowledge and S***X. He had an innate sense of powerful people. And Yi Yu gave herself the same feeling as One Piece Roger and Whitebeard who had competed with him back then, or even, that terrifying Rocks. The door of a cell between the two cells of Red Earl Redfield and Devil's Descendant Bullet was open, and Magellan walked to that cell. The Golden Lion Shiki was once imprisoned here, now use this cell to imprison Yi Yu. Put Yi Yu in, and our mission will be completed, burn General Yamanaka. Magellan murmured. When they heard that Yi Yu was going to be put into the Golden Lion's cage, the surrounding criminals became completely agitated. The Golden Lion's cage is regarded as a lucky cage by the criminals here, because the Golden Lion escaped from that cage. Many people here may not be convinced by the strength of Golden Lion, but they admire Golden Lion from the bottom of his heart for becoming the first pirate to escape in the history of Impel Down. Naturally, everyone also wants to be imprisoned in the cage before the Golden Lion. With the luck of the Golden Lion, maybe they can escape too. Golden Lion Shiki's prison should be handed over to me. He's just a little kid. I look up to him too much. Katrine, the Crescent Moon Hunter with heavy makeup and a long nose, said angrily, showing her sharp teeth. As a mere brat worthy of being imprisoned in the cell where the Golden Lion once was. Dajutong said suspiciously. Hey, let me tell you, Magellan, a mere boy, you actually put him in the position of the Golden Lion Shiki. When did you become so confused? Crocodile showed a provocative smile. How can he be confused? I think their Marines' combat effectiveness is greatly reduced now. A mere brat can turn them upside down, haha. Bullet, the descendant of the devil, also laughed. Hey, Magellan, tell me, what did this brat commit that deserves all your efforts? Shiryu, the former warden in uniform, asked curiously with a wicked smile. Shiryu Rain, you are now a criminal, and I have the right to refuse to answer your questions. And all you criminals, please be quiet. Magellan pointed his finger at the criminals on the 6th floor of the great prison under the sea and shouted loudly. However, how could the criminals on the 6th floor be frightened by Magellan? They all laughed with disdain in their eyes. Needless to say, it must be their Marine scandal, ha ha ha. Marine, you have really fallen now. Big Bucket laughed. The entire great prison was booing, and they were very contemptuous of Magellan for seizing such a young and weak kid. Yi Yu looked indifferent. While Magellan was introducing, Yi Yu was also looking around, and Ace's cell room had been determined. And Jinbei is not here. It seems that he once had a phone call with the Whitebeard pirates and asked the Whitebeard pirates to protect Jinbei on Fishman Island. This is considered the right thing to do. I have begun to change the trend of the entire pirate world. Next, the trend of the pirate world will be completely decided by myself. Chapter 64. Are you the only one who can save Ace? Ignoring everyone, Magellan locked Yi Yu's cell tightly, and then accompanied General Yamanaka on fire and left here. I made you laugh, General Yamanaka. Magellan said awkwardly, touching his head. It's nothing, after all, the people imprisoned here are the most ferocious criminals in this sea. Huo Shaoshan said with serious eyes. Although he is a lieutenant general in the Marine headquarters, he has also been to the great prison of the world for the first time, so he has gained a lot of experience. Many legendary pirates were not depressed even though they were bound by shackles and locked in a narrow space for a whole year. This shows that these people have a strong will and it is reasonable for them to become great pirates. After Magellan left, Yi Yu began to calculate the time. According to the timeline of One Piece, the Whitebeard pirates would not appear until Ace went to the execution platform. Now is not the time to do it yourself. You have to wait until Vice Admiral Mole escorts Ace to the execution ground. Only then can you act together with the Whitebeard pirates. When the criminals in the prison saw the newcomers joining, they started to make a noise, interrupting Yi Yu's thinking. Hey kid, tell me, what did you commit? You couldn't have stolen something important from the celestial dragons and were imprisoned on the 6th floor, right? The evil king asked curiously. No matter how I thought about it, I couldn't imagine what kind of thing such a stupid kid in front of me could do. What else can this kid do besides stealing things? Crescent Moon Hunter was still worried about Yi Yu being assigned to the Golden Lion Shiki's cell. Basked, the big wine barrel, also laughed, obviously despising Yi Yu, a criminal who had no strength but could reach the 6th floor. I didn't do anything wrong. I just came to rescue Ace and was captured by the 3 generals. Yi Yu said calmly. As soon as these words came out, the criminals in the entire underwater great prison began to laugh again. Ha, ha, ha. You kid, you have no ability, but you are good at telling lies. Crocodile let out a weird and long laugh. Moonlight Hunter also laughed so hard that he covered his stomach. Ha ha ha, this is the best joke I have ever heard in all the years I have been imprisoned in the great prison under the sea. Big Wine Barrel said with a mocking look on his face. Hey, kid, there must be a limit to big talk. With your little arms and legs, do you deserve to be surrounded by 3 generals? Bullet, the descendant of the devil, snorted coldly. In his eyes, Yi Yu was just a weakling. But Ace in the prison cell widened his eyes. Is this person here to save him? But, the one who can save him is either Luffy or the Whitebeard pirates. Is he from the Whitebeard pirates? But the captain of the Whitebeard pirates is familiar to him, but he doesn't know the person in front of him at all. Is he just a young pirate in the Whitebeard pirates? But it's impossible for the little pirate to be put into the great prison. Ace had a puzzled look on his face and asked suspiciously, "Are you sent by the Whitebeard pirates? Or are you a friend of Luffy?" Ignoring the ridicule of the criminals in the great prison under the sea, Yi Yu slowly spoke. "I am Yi Yu, the captain of the Zero Division of the Whitebeard pirates. You should have heard of my existence from my father." Yi Yu introduced himself with the corner of his mouth raised slightly. Fire Fist Ace, after hearing this, his eyes widened with an expression of extreme surprise. Are you the captain of Division Zero who has been practicing in seclusion? Regarding the rumors about Captain Zero, I did hear it from my father, but I really didn't expect that Captain Zero would be so young. In my own expectation, the captain of Division Zero should be an old man about the same age as his father. Unexpectedly, Captain Zero is less than 20 years old. I'm really hurting you, Captain Zero. Ace said with a sigh. It's nothing, I came in on purpose this time. Yi Yu's faint voice came. Keep holding on, Ace, when the time comes, I will rescue you. Yi Yu said firmly in the cage. Ha 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 ha, you kid will really die if you don't talk nonsense. Sand Crocodile's devilish laughter came again. You bring some joy to our dull 6th floor. You can't save yourself, but you still want to save others. Big Wine Barrel said with a joking look on his face. How dare you, a brat like you, talk about saving people. Crescent Moon Hunter Katrine Diame also showed a look of disdain. Ace, you are so stupid. Look at this boy, look at his weak look. How could he be the captain of the Zero Division of the Whitebeard pirates? Bullet said with a hint of caution. Whitebeard was fighting neck to neck with his captain Roger. As far as I know, the Whitebeard pirates do not have a deputy leader, only a captain. If this kid is the captain of Division Zero, wouldn't he be facing off against Pluton Rayleigh, Copper Jabba and himself from the Roger pirates? How is this possible? Even a weakling can fight against him, but the Whitebeard pirates are not that weak yet. There was a look of expectation in Red Earl Redfield's eyes. He narrowed his eyes into a slit and slowly opened his mouth. Boy, are you telling the truth? Do you have any way to rescue Ace? Redfield asked suspiciously. Chapter 65 Kaido, who hurt you like this? Garp has been brought into this great prison for so many years, and he knows that escaping from this iron wall is not easy. Hey, let me tell you, Redfield, are you an old fool? Do you believe what this brat says? Sensing the abnormality of the Red Earl, Bullet showed a surprised expression. You must know that in this prison, he is arrogant and refuses to accept anyone except the Red Earl. This Red Earl was once as powerful as the entire Roger pirates. I know how powerful the Red Earl is. Now that such a powerful pirate in legend actually asked a little kid how to escape, Bullet had to wonder if the Red Earl was too old. Red Earl, how is this possible? The criminals around also showed doubtful expressions and followed. Yi Yu ignored the people around him, but he became slightly interested in the Red Earl. This guy, it seems that his powers of observation are much stronger than those of ordinary pirates. You know, even Bullet, the descendant of the devil, didn't realize how powerful he was. The legendary pirates are indeed the legendary pirates, but they are obviously different. It's simple. Just break the shackles by force. Yi Yu said lightly. After hearing the answer, Ace showed a surprised expression. This was the first time he had heard of this method. The shackles on the 6th floor of the great prison under the sea were purer than other places. Forcing it open. Hard. The entire underwater great prison fell into a brief silence, and then laughed again. You brat, there should be a limit to your big words. The purity of the sea tower stone shackles here is close to 100%. Crocodile snorted coldly. I wonder if this kid is crazy about trying to escape, and he actually said some irrelevant things. Dajutong looked disdainful. You also believe this. How can this boy have the strength to forcefully open the sea tower stone? In my opinion, this boy is not even as strong as the sand crocodile. Moonlight Hunter said sarcastically. Hey, what do you mean? Crocodile said with cold eyes. The Red Earl lowered his head, remained silent again, and forced it to open. This is simply a joke. This Halu stone, which is nearly 100% pure, can be forcibly opened, and I would have escaped long ago. I thought that this kid was a strong man, maybe there was some way to escape from here like a golden lion. But looking at it now, I realized that I had made a mistake. This boy was indeed just a weakling who could talk big words. Immediately following the entire 6th floor of the great prison under the sea, the quarrel between the sand crocodile and the nine-tails fox Katrine Deem continued. The entire 6th floor of the great prison under the sea became completely lively because of Yi Yu's arrival. A-hole, a woman dares to look down on me. If it weren't for Halu Shi, I would definitely drain the water out of your body. Crocodile said coldly. You're just a kid playing in the sand. Compared with my most dangerous female pirate, you are not qualified. The nine-tails fox showed no sign of weakness. The two of them were acting normally, and Yi Yu showed a helpless look. The sleeping environment here is not very good. A few hours later, the sound of hurried footsteps was heard again from the 6th floor prison. Tap, 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 tap. Magellan walked in front, with someone tied behind him. Every step he took, there was a clanking sound of chains hitting the ground. You damn criminals, please be quiet. Magellan's voice came from not far away. A group of people tied up and wrapped a man's body with sea tower stone chains, layer after layer, wrapping it like a rice dumpling. The criminals on the 6th floor all looked surprised. What happened to the great prison under the sea today? Another criminal came. Is it true that anyone can enter the 6th floor now? Crocodile was closest to the escort route, stopped arguing with the Nine-Tails Fox, and took the lead in putting his face in front of the iron fence. In the dim light, Lieutenant General Mole and Magellan were escorting Kaido, who was shackled. Kaido's body was full of shocking scars, down to his bones. But Kaido looked tired, as if he had just woken up from a coma. They passed Crocodile's cell first. Beasts. Kaido, who seriously injured you like this? Crocodile said in disbelief as he looked at the scars on Kaido's body. Chapter 66. Recently, a strong man appeared in the sea named Yi Yu. Upon hearing that Kaido was coming, some criminals in the undersea great prison put their faces in front of the fence. Sand Crocodile, what nonsense are you talking about? How could that guy Kaido be seriously injured? Shiryu of the Rain said with a smile. When he was the warden, he once escorted Kaido on a warship. In the end, he let Kaido escape because he underestimated Kaido's resilience. I know Kaido's powerful defense very well. If you can cause even a small injury to Kaido, you can be called a strong person. He severely injured Kaido. Haha, could it be that Tekken Garp himself did it? That guy Garp is now semi-retired, so the possibility is probably not high. The other prisoners also booed, and they were very aware of the strength of this veteran 4 emperors. The Crescent Hunter showed disdain and continued to quarrel with the Sand Crocodile. I think you are too weak, Sand Crocodile. A little injury from Kai made you look like a bear by surprise. However, the strange thing is that this time the Sand Crocodile did not answer, because at this time the Sand Crocodile was still in an atmosphere of shock. Haha, it's very difficult for Kaido to be seriously injured. Even Bullet, the descendant of the devil, also spoke. Bullet is still very interested in strong people, and Kaido is one of them. However, when Kaido, who was tied up with sea tower stone chains, walked through the prison doors in the dark 6th floor, everyone in the 2 rows was shocked. The countless wounds are shocking. Scars are spreading on top of scars, and injuries are added to injuries. If he were an ordinary person, he would probably bleed to death long ago. The entire 6th floor of the great prison under the sea fell into a brief silence for an instant. After a long time, it finally became noisy again. How is this possible, Kaido, who has the ability to hurt you like this? Shiryu said in disbelief. The Big Wine Barrel, the Crescent Moon Hunter, the Giant Wolf, and the Evil King are completely sluggish. Even on the 6th level, where there are so many experts, the only one who can beat Kaido into such a bird-like state is the Red Earl. Fire Fist Ace also widened his eyes with an incredible expression. He once traveled to the country of Wano, and he knew very well about Kaido's strength. At first, he could not even break Kaido's defense, but in the end he was defeated by Kaido's Conqueror's entanglement. Even the old man, Whitebeard, the strongest man in the world, can defeat Kaido, but he can't leave so much fatal damage to Kaido. Bullet, the descendant of the devil, opened his mouth in shock, with a look of suspicion on his face. After so many years of training, Bullet believes that Kaido must be just like him, stronger than before. How could he be seriously injured like this? Kaido, you were the most famous newcomer in the Rocks Pirates at that time. Even if I, Bullet, fight you, the outcome will probably be difficult to determine. Who is so capable of beating you like this? Bullet said in shock. The Red Earl, who has always been silent, also showed a shocked expression this time. Kid Kaido, someone can actually hurt you like this. Did Garp take action? The Red Count asked, squinting at the seriously injured Kaido. There are only a few people in the whole world who can hurt Kaido. The sound of chains colliding sounded, and Kaido took heavy steps. It's not Garp, it's not Marine at all. In recent days, another strong man has appeared on the sea. He is Captain Zero of the Whitebeard Pirates, Yi Yu. Kaido clenched his fists and said angrily. Now that I think about that boy Yi Yu having to attack, my wound still hurts. If Yi Yu hadn't beaten him into a coma, how could he have been brought here by a few mere Marine lieutenant generals? When he woke up, his whole body was already wrapped in sea tower stone chains. Yi Yu. The criminals on the 6th floor of the great prison under the sea were completely confused. Yi Yu, wasn't he the criminal who came just now? Could he really be the young boy who threatened to rescue Ace? Looking at everyone's reactions, Kaido showed a confused look. What? You guys know this kid, he has only just become famous in this sea a few days ago. Kaido looked confused. At this moment, Kaido passed by a cell in the darkness, and a faint voice came from the cell. It seems that your defense is good. Kaido was not killed by me. Yi Yu's faint voice came. I will never forget this lazy voice in my life. Isn't this Yi Yu's voice? Kaido suddenly felt a sense of fear that made the hairs on his hair explode. It's you. Yi Yu, you be *********** D. Kaido said angrily. Chapter 67. Who releases the Conquerors in the 6th level prison? The entire 6th floor of the great prison under the sea, this time I completely believed it. Kaido, a guy with abnormal defense, was really seriously injured by this kid. Ace looked surprised. He had heard that Captain Zero of the Whitebeard Pirates was very powerful. But I didn't expect that he would be so strong. He tried his best and failed to cause any harm to Kaido, but Yi Yu actually left so many shocking scars on Kaido's body. The damage left by Dad is more terrifying. Could it be that Captain Zero is stronger than Dad? The 4 prisoners, Big Wine Barrel, Moonlight Hunter, Evil Wolf, and King of Evil, also looked shocked. That boy Yi Yu, who looks so weak, really has such great strength. After Bullet was briefly shocked, he showed excited eyes. Boy, so, you really have the strength to escape from here. Bullet said excitedly. Even the Red Earl on the side showed excitement after hearing this. I've had enough of being in this hellish place. Relying on his fruit ability, time has not weakened his strength. If this kid lets himself out, won't he have his own world again after he gets out? Yi Yu approached the iron fence, and his cheeks gradually emerged in the darkness. Looking at the wounds on Kaido's body, he still had a smile on his face. You should be happy to escape from my attack, not angry, right? Kaido, Yi Yu said with a smile. When Yi Yu said these words, even for a strong man like Kaido, cold sweat broke out on the back of his body. This boy is fundamentally different from the enemies he has faced before. No matter how powerful the previous enemy was, it was still very difficult to kill him, but, this harmless B********* D in front of him had the power to kill him. This boy is right. In the last battle, if Yi Yu gave him even the slightest attack, he would definitely die. B******* D boy. Don't get too carried away. I almost defeated you last time. Kaido said with a guilty conscience. Although he was very scared in his heart, Kaido still refused to give in and showed a fearless attitude. After all, this underwater great prison held many criminals he was familiar with, so he still had to save a little face. Take a deep breath, etc. Kaido slowly stabilized his emotions, and then realized that this guy Yi Yu was also imprisoned. I was so frightened just now that I forgot about it. You kid, weren't you also captured by Marine? What's there to be proud of? Kaido said proudly. Being captured by Marine proves that this kid is not invincible. Thinking about his gaffe just now, Kaido became a little angry and was no longer afraid of Yi Yu. Boy, you will spend the rest of your life in this prison with rats and cockroaches. Haha, Kaido smiled arrogantly. You bastards, shut up, lousy, Magellan shouted, interrupting the chatter of the prisoners in the prison. Magellan pushed Kaido directly into a dark cell. This Kaido and this Yi Yu, give me more chains to prevent them from escaping. Magellan ordered loudly. Even Magellan didn't dare to be careless about prisoners of Kaido and Yi Yu's level. Yes, after hearing the order, the two Marines behind him once again took out chains as thick as pythons and wrapped them around Yi Yu and Kaido layer by layer. I made you laugh, Lieutenant General Mole. After doing all this, Magellan touched his head and said awkwardly. The criminals on the 6th level are extremely vicious, and they are all thorns in the thorns, and there is really nothing they can do about it. Lieutenant General Mole was not joking at all, but had a solemn expression on his face. Warden Magellan, to be able to guard so many ferocious pirates, your job is not easy. Lieutenant General Mole said with a serious face. The mission of personally escorting Kaido to the 6th floor of the Great Prison is completed. Now, all that remains is to escort Ace. Lieutenant General Mole clenched his sword and came to Ace's prison, squinted at Ace and said. Magellan also had a serious look on his face. After closing Kaido's prison door, they came to Ace's prison cell together. Boy Fire Fist Ace, you have to go with me to the execution platform. Lieutenant General Mole stood opposite the prison iron fence and said coldly. Yi Yu in the dark prison cage smiled slightly, this moment has finally arrived. The Whitebeard pirates are about to arrive in Marineland at this time. It's time to join them and cause trouble at Marine headquarters. It just so happened that I was not used to the environment in the great prison under the sea. It was too dark and cold, so I preferred a sunny place. So, Yi Yu stood up slowly, and the sound of clanging iron chains could be heard from Yi Yu's prison room. Looking at these heavy chains and shackles, Yi Yu showed a disdainful expression. There is more than one way to break these chains yourself. The most direct method is to infiltrate conquerors into these sea tower stones, causing internal damage to them, and the shackles will naturally open. You can also add magma ability to these conquerors. With the combined destruction of conquerors and the power of magma, these sea tower stone shackles and chains can be completely destroyed. However, Shanyuya chose the easiest method. I saw Yi Yu closing his eyes slightly, and a strong conqueror's domineering energy appeared in his body. It was like a heavy fog had appeared in Yi Yu's prison. The Red Earl, who was sitting next to Yi Yu's cell, had an extremely strange expression on his face, squinting his eyes and looking around. How does it feel? Who released conquerors from prison? The Red Earl said with surprise in his heart. Chapter 68 just walked out of prison. All of this mist was naturally transformed from Yi Yu's conquerors. The white mist had already appeared and poured into the keyhole in the seafloor stone handcuffs. In the end, because conquerors was too abundant, it solidified into an entity like a key. Open, Yi Yu said calmly. All the sea tower stone shackles in Yeyu prison were opened in an instant. Ding dong dang, the sound of iron tools falling to the ground appeared. Then, squeak, squeak, the door of Yeyu prison slowly opened. Magellan and Mole showed extremely confused expressions, and cast their gazes on Yi Yu's cell. Why did the cell door on the 6th floor of the great prison under the sea open automatically? The surrounding criminals naturally noticed the cell door of Yeyu prison. My dear, this boy, I remember he once said that he has the ability to open the shackles of a stone with a purity close to 100 sea towers. Is it true? The atmosphere at this moment was eerily silent. The people in the great prison on the 6th floor of the sea, whether they were Marines or criminals, all looked at Yi Yu's cell door. In full view of everyone, Yi Yu slowly walked out of the prison cage, raised his head slightly, smiled, and glanced at the many eyes that were focused on him. Looking back, I focused on Magellan, Lieutenant General Mole and Marine. Ah, lying in this broken prison is not comfortable at all. Yi Yu stretched out his arms. Warden Magellan, Lieutenant General Mole, Ace can't leave with you yet. Yi Yu said lazily with the corners of his mouth raised slightly. Magellan and Lieutenant General Mole were stunned and froze in place. Especially Magellan, as the warden of this prison, this is the first time he has seen someone come out of the great prison door on the 6th floor of the sea in such a swagger. After the surrounding criminals were stunned, there was a burst of restlessness. Ha ha ha, boy Yi Yu, it's really you who actually opened the shackles of Sea Tower Stone with a purity of nearly 100. Bullet's eyes flashed with light. It seems that I really made a mistake this time. Yi Yu, this boy, has extraordinary strength. Bullet looked at Yi Yu with eyes full of expectation. He really wanted to compete with such a strong man and have a one-on-one battle without anyone interrupting him. The Big Wine Barrel, Nine-Tails Fox, Sand Crocodile, Evil King, Giant Battleship Wolf, and others also looked shocked. These people had previously regarded Yi Yu as a weakling, but now they saw Yi Yu swaggering out of the prison cell. Everyone opened their mouths in surprise. What? This kid is not joking, he really came out. The Evil King stared at Yi Yu tightly and said in shock. If you say that, what he said was that he was arrested only after the 3 generals joined forces, is it true? Dajutong swallowed his saliva and said. 3 generals teamed up to arrest. This kind of strength is already close to the existence of One Piece. Anyway, Big Wine Barrel thinks that even a marine general of his can't deal with him. This kid's level is at least the level of Red Earl, Bullet, and World Destroyer. You can't be wrong. He can open the sea stone with almost 100% purity at will and severely injure Kaido. This boy does have the strength of the legendary pirate. The Nine-Tails Fox showed its sharp teeth and eyes, flashing. Even the Red Earl, the most powerful being on the 6th level, showed a surprised expression. With such strength at such a young age, the future is limitless. Red Earl said, staring at Yi Yu with squinted eyes. He is less than 20 years old and has the ability to defeat 4 emperors, fight against 3 generals, and escape from the 6th floor of the great prison under the sea. According to the people he knows, at such a young age, if only in terms of talent, only rocks can compare with him. Kaido, who was located opposite Yi Yu's cell, had his eyes wide and bloodshot. Yi Yu, you guy, do you still have such an ability? Kaido said with a surprised look on his face. When fighting Yi Yu, I had already seen Yi Yu's various weird abilities. I didn't expect that this time there would be another terrifying ability. Forced to open the sea floor stone with a purity close to 100%. If something like sea floor stone is more than 1% pure, the difficulty of destruction will be doubled. This is also the reason why the 6th floor of the great prison under the sea can control so many guys who know how to domineering Lu Ying. Ace in prison showed an excited expression. Can Captain Yi Yu really rescue him? I can return to the Whitebeard pirates, reunite with other members, and my father. A-hole, you damn pirates, shut up. Yi Yu, I won't let you escape. Magellan spread the black wings behind him, and purple-black venom dripped from his body from time to time. Although I don't know what kind of ability Yi Yu used to quietly open the sea tower stone shackles. But as the warden of this underwater great prison, I have a duty to stop Yi Yu, even if it costs my own life. With his eyes locked on Yi Yu and his brows furrowed, Magellan clenched his fists. In an instant, bursts of purple gas were produced around Magellan. Chapter 69. The criminals on the 6th floor were collectively shocked. Put on your gas masks, my poison gas is enough to kill you. Magellan said to the sailors behind him. The surrounding sailors and Mole hurriedly put on gas masks. Mole had a serious look on his face, and his eyes were full of deep fear. Magellan didn't know Yi Yu's identity clearly, but he knew it very well. I saw that battle with Marinafando with my own eyes. It is really impossible to defeat Yi Yu just by relying on his own group of people. 1 Conquerors knocked out 20,000 marine elites, and 3 generals worked together to barely capture Yi Yu. How could such a terrifying being be defeated by Magellan? Hey, Lieutenant General Mole, hurry up and tell the Marine headquarters the news here and call for support. I will do my best to delay this guy, Magellan said to the serious-looking Mole beside him. Only then did Lieutenant General Mole realize that Magellan did not intend to defeat Yi Yu at all, but wanted to delay time. A large amount of poisonous gas surged towards Yi Yu. Yi Yu showed a disdainful expression. Even if you want to hold yourself back, you have to use some real skills, right? You want to hold yourself back with this kind of poison. This is a bit too underestimated of Yi Yu. Facing the overwhelming poisonous gas, Yi Yu walked slowly towards Magellan without dodge. Hey, be careful, his poison is not simple, Crocodile murmured. Boy, don't be careless. Magellan is a Paramesha poison devil fruit user, and his abilities are very tricky. Bullet also reminded from the side. The criminals around him also looked worried. This kid finally escaped, but he must not be killed by Magellan. Since Yi Yu has the ability to open the shackles, it means he can save them. At this time, all the criminals in the great prison under the sea regard Yi Yu as their hope, and they all want to use Yi Yu to escape from this damn place. Yi Yu ignored the criminals' reminders and kept walking, while slightly adjusting the full conquerors in his body. Buzz. With Yi Yu as the center point, the majestic conquerors swept across all directions in an instant. The sixth floor of the great prison, which was usually as quiet as a vacuum zone, suddenly had a strong wind of level 10. If it weren't for the special materials used in the construction of the undersea great prison to prevent criminals from escaping, I am afraid that the sixth floor would have collapsed due to Yi's domineering power. The fierce wind blew away all the poisonous gas that had spread towards Yi just now, and the fear from the depths of his soul gradually spread. With Yi as the center, a vacuum zone was formed around it, and the atmosphere was silent. The voices of the people who were noisy just now suddenly stopped. The sailors behind Magellan all rolled their eyes and fell to the ground before they could react. Even Mole, a Marine Lieutenant General, was kneeling on the ground, his hands trembling non-stop. If the Mole hadn't used the saber in his hand to insert it into his palm. Use the pain to resist the deepest fear in your heart. I'm afraid Lieutenant General Mole has fainted on the spot. At the same time, the criminals in the great prison under the sea looked at Bai Chi with surprised eyes. What a scary conquerors. Are you kidding? Just the aftermath of conquerors scares me inside. Crocodile in the cage said with a look of disbelief on his face. I have been walking on this sea for so many years, and the most terrifying conquerors I have ever experienced was when I challenged Whitebeard. The white-bearded conquerors gave me a profound memory at that time. But who would have thought? Conquerors, the captain of the Zero Division of the Whitebeard pirates, would be above Whitebeard. Feeling the fear in his heart, Crocodile locked his eyes on the young man Yi, showing an expectant look. This sea is really getting more and more interesting. Big Wine Barrel, Nine-Tails Fox, Evil King, Evil Wolf, Shiryu of Rain and others also showed shocked expressions. What a scary boy, is this guy really that young? Why does this abundant conquerors give people the feeling of an old monster? The Evil King and several others said with doubts on their faces. The terrifying conquerors has appeared again. Kaido narrowed his eyes as if in thought, and his scar began to hurt again. Bullet on the side looked extremely excited. What a monster. I have to say that Yi is indeed a beast in his heart. A strong man like myself. The most shocking one among them was the Red Earl. I had guessed how powerful Yi was before, but at most he was someone like One Piece Roger. His dual strength is still inferior to his own. But the strength Yi has shown now, simply inferred from this rich conquerors, may have surpassed One Piece Roger. Maybe my strength is not stronger than this kid. Thinking of this, even in the depths of Red Earl's heart, he began to be wary of Yi in front of him. Judging from his appearance, he is only less than 20 years old. If Yi grows up to his age, with this kid's talent, he may have already surpassed rocks. Maybe, if he is willing, he can overthrow the world. Feeling the pressure Yi brought to him, Magellan's body overflowed with a large amount of venom, and the overflowing venom dripped on the ground drop by drop. Even the specially reinforced floor on the sixth floor of the great prison under the sea was corroded by the poison and created a hole. Chapter 70. Let's turn the great prison under the sea upside down. Magellan clenched his fists, took 2 steps forward, and gritted his teeth. Poison dragon, shouted a loud voice. 3 huge poisonous dragons suddenly appeared behind Magellan. The bodies of these 3 poisonous dragons were still faintly exuding poisonous gas, giving people a very cold feeling. As soon as Angryu saw Yi, he opened his bloody mouth, with purple liquid flowing from the dragon's teeth, and roared at Yi. Go! Magellan shouted loudly. In an instant, the 3 poisonous dragons rushed towards Yi at extremely fast speeds from 3 tricky angles. Be careful, Captain Zero. Ace saw clearly in the prison and reminded hurriedly. Looking at the 3 poisonous dragons, Yi showed a look of disdain on his lips. Don't worry, Ace, I'm here to rescue you right away. Yi said calmly. Without even trying to dodge, the 3 poisonous dragons kept expanding within Yi's field of vision, but stopped suddenly 1 meter away from Yi, as if they had collided with something huge. The 3 poisonous dragons instantly turned into a burst of poisonous gas and disappeared in place. What is going on? The people around were amazed. Facing Magellan's poisonous dragon, he didn't even dodge. And he was defended like this. Bullet looked excited. He thought he didn't have the courage to face Magellan's poisonous dragon. It takes 3 generals to arrest this guy. I really want to fight you. My Bullet felt that the blood in his body began to boil. Ever since Roger's death, no one had been able to make him feel this eager to fight for a long time. The poisonous gas dissipated, and the ripples of Conqueror's defensive shield around Yi spread slightly. Magellan, your poison dragon move has no effect on me at all. Yi said calmly with a calm face. Purple sweat broke out on Magellan's forehead. Not only was the poisonous dragon useless, but his own poisonous gas was also completely useless against the young man in front of him. Although I don't know the specific abilities of this kid, I can surmise that it must be that weird defensive shield that isolates the poisonous gas from his body. Hey, Lieutenant General Mole, hasn't the call been dialed yet? Magellan looked at Yi warily and asked the Mole Fox behind him. Facing such a powerful guy, what on earth is Mole doing if he doesn't call for support quickly? However, Lieutenant General Mole behind him did not respond. Lieutenant General Mole, Magellan called again, but there was still no answer. Are you talking about that guy? Yi pointed at Lieutenant General Mole behind Magellan and said with a joking expression. Turning his head and looking around, he saw that the mole behind him had been pressed into the ground on the 6th floor. Even the phone bug was suppressed by the strong pressure and turned into pieces. This is naturally not the influence of Yi's range of conquerors, but the actual pressure Yi exerts on Lieutenant General Mole through the transformation of conquerors and the gathering of conquerors. Conquerors. Conquerors caused substantial damage. Magellan widened his eyes and said with surprise on his face. While fighting with yourself, can you still concentrate on suppressing Lieutenant General Mole? Among the people I know, only the red-haired Shanks Conquerors can do this, but, even that Shanks can't train Conquerors substantial damage to such a terrifying level. Magellan was completely in despair. If Yi Yu was here, the iron walls of the so-called Great Prison Under the Sea would be like nothing. Hey, give up resistance, Magellan. With your strength, you are no match for me even if you practice for another 100 years. Yi Yu said calmly to Magellan in a condescending manner. A kingly aura emanated from the carefree Yi Yu. The criminals on the 6th floor of the Great Prison Under the Sea began to cheer completely. Well done, Yi Yu, the warden of the Great Prison Under the Sea, you are the first person to be forced to do this. Crocodile narrowed his eyes and said excitedly. Ha ha ha, that bullshit warden is useless in front of Yi Yu. Big Wine Barrel said mockingly. Let's turn the Great Prison Under the Sea upside down, Yi Yu, we really have you. The Crescent Moon Hunter with heavy makeup and a long nose said excitedly. Shiryu of Rain also showed an incredible expression. I was arrested by this guy Magellan. I know very well the strength of Magellan. He had indeed thought that Yi Yu was stronger than Magellan, but, with Magellan's tricky poison fruit ability, he could not do anything to Yi Yu at all, which he had never thought of. Even people like Bullet and Red Earl admired Yi Yu in their hearts. A strong person should have this kind of courage. Seeing the defeated expression of the warden who had imprisoned them for so many years, the criminals on the 6th floor felt secretly happy. Chapter 71 Kaido. You are going to suffer, Magellan. A-hole. I am the warden of this prison, and I am responsible for guarding you, the most vicious criminals. Feeling Yi Yu's disdain, Magellan said angrily. At this time, Magellan has made up his mind. Although his strength is far inferior to Yi Yu, but, even if he dies, he must stop Yi Yu's escape plan. I am the warden of this prison. How can I let criminals go out and harm the world? A large amount of venom leaked out of Magellan's body, and finally the purple venom turned red. Even Magellan's eyes immediately turned blood red, staring at Yi Yu, raising one of his hands and summoning a large amount of red venom. The criminals in the Great Prison Under the Sea have seen this trick before. Be careful, Yi Yu, this red poison can corrode everything. Crocodile reminded him again. Yi Yu curled his lips. No matter what kind of troublesome abilities he had, they were nothing compared to his own abilities. He was the biggest bug in the pirate world. Boy, wake up. As the warden, I can't let you escape, poisonous giant soldier. Magellan roared loudly. A large amount of bright red venom gathered into a ball, and finally turned into a skeleton giant, with a ferocious face, just like a Shinigami, which made people's hair stand on end. It's here, Magellan's strongest blow. Crocodile squinted his eyes and said with emotion. Any substance that comes into contact with it will be infected and gradually spread, eroding everything. A skeletal giant whose poison will gradually spread until death if a person comes into contact with it. Crescent Moon Hunter murmured. Kaido was slightly surprised when he looked at the terrifying skeleton giant, but he regained his composure in an instant. Although Magellan is very powerful, but, his opponent is Yi Yu, no matter how powerful he is, it is useless. Kaido of the 100 Beasts knows this better than the other criminals in the Great Prison on the 6th floor. Because I have personally fought against this boy. Bullet and Red Earl snorted coldly. Although it's a bit tricky, facing Yi Yu, I'm afraid I'll be defeated within 5 minutes. Hearing the comments from the criminals in the Great Prison Under the Sea, Yi Yu smiled slightly. He spent 20 minutes beating Kaido last time because he was killing time. Now I am facing a guy who is not as good as Kaido, and I am a little pressed for time. So how many minutes? There is no need to think about this at all, there are not many minutes, there is only one result of instant kill. Hey, Magellan, I've already warned you. Since you are unwilling to give up, there is nothing I can do. Yi Yu spread his hands and said helplessly. He still has to participate in the war at the top, but he has no time to spend time with Magellan here. Magellan stared at Yi Yu angrily. Go to hell. The huge poisonous skeleton stretched out his palm and slapped Yi Yu hard. Before the giant palm arrived, strong wind pressure had already hit. Yi Yu looked very small in front of this huge poisonous skeleton. Boom. There was a burst of dust and powerful force, and the entire 6th floor was shaken. Death by my poison. Magellan continued to roar. Looking at the battle scene, Kaido showed an expression that I understand. Magellan, you guy, is going to suffer. Kaido said with solemn eyes. It was just as Kaido expected. The next moment, the majestic conquerors, with Yi Yu as the center, leaked out in all directions, like a nuclear bomb exploding with a muffled sound. Boom. The powerful conqueror's energy impacted everything around. Level 10 winds blew across the entire Great Prison Under the Sea again. Dust was flying all over the sky, and the surrounding walls reinforced with sea towers collapsed. The criminals in the Great Prison Under the Sea felt this terrifying power, and they all swallowed their saliva crazily. This time, they really felt how powerful Yi Yu was. Crocodile's face was full of weirdness. Are you kidding me? It's just the aftermath that makes me, Crocodile, so exhausted. Crocodile tried hard to control his body and not be blown down by the strong wind pressure, and said with shocked eyes. The huge iron bars on Ace prison were completely overturned due to the impact of the aftermath. Ace's eyes widened, his lips trembled as he swallowed. I've heard that Captain Zero is very powerful. I didn't expect him to be so terrifying. Although Big Wine Barrel, Nine-Tails Fox, Shiryu of Rain and others were able to control their bodies, the shock in their eyes was no weaker than others. You know, Yi Yu's conquerors mainly went to attack Magellan, and all they suffered was the aftermath. These people are all great pirates who were once famous in the sea. How have they ever been in such a situation where they have to fight against the aftermath with all their strength? Kaido looked calm and shook his head helplessly. I just said, Magellan, you are going to suffer. Although both Bullet and Red Earl were able to withstand the aftermath, they still had expressions of emotion on their faces. This kind of strength was exactly what they expected. Yi Yu was truly a peerless powerhouse. On the other side, Luffy, who had slipped into the great prison under the sea and was running around to rescue Ace, almost fell. Wow, what's going on? Is there an earthquake? Luffy asked confused. Looking at the jailer chasing after him, he ignored him and continued to escape. Ace, wait for me, I will definitely save you. Luffy shouted loudly and continued running towards the sixth layer of the sea floor. After the breath of violence passed, the entire sixth floor of the great prison under the sea returned to calm. The huge poisonous skeleton that was ferocious just now has turned into a pool of red liquid, flowing on the ground. From the scattered marines lying upside down on the ground, as well as the collapsed walls of the great prison, and the ruins, it is not difficult to guess what the sixth floor of the great prison under the sea has just experienced. Even Magellan, who was on the giant poisonous skeleton, was covered in blood and fell to the ground because of the impact. Chapter 72 Yi Yu, the savior of the great prison under the sea. The corners of Magellan's mouth were still trembling. Can't let this terrible guy like you escape, Magellan said while lying on the ground, breathing rapidly. Yi Yu came to the fallen Magellan and looked down at Magellan, who had lost his fighting ability. You are really dedicated, Magellan. I don't want to kill you, so don't stop me anymore. Yi Yu said lightly. Magellan still wanted to speak, but as soon as he opened his mouth and said a few words, he felt an icy cold air invade his body. Ice King Century. A bone-chilling cold air froze Magellan into a huge ice block in less than a second. Magellan, who was frozen in ice, still maintained the expression as he spoke last. The entire sixth floor of the great prison under the sea fell into an atmosphere of silence. These criminals who had once dominated the sea and were unyielding were all shocked and speechless when facing Yi Yu. Kill the warden instantly. From the moment Yi Yu showed his fighting spirit until Magellan was subdued, it only took 2 moves. The first move directly destroyed Magellan and the giant poisonous skeleton, and the second move was a freeze and the whole thing was done. Not only is it powerful, but it also possesses all kinds of weird abilities. This kind of terrifying fighting power actually comes from a boy who is less than 20 years old. Gulu, under the sea, the criminals in the great prison began to swallow their saliva crazily. Criminals like Sand Crocodile, Ace, Nine-Tails Fox, and Big Wine Barrel with combat power of less than 1 billion bounties, I can't even imagine that there are such terrifying guys. There was a hint of fear in Bullet's shocked eyes. Bullet himself, even if faced with a general level combat power, would not give in at all, but to kill Magellan, who was almost a general level, with 2 moves, he thought, he couldn't do it yet. Even Kaido showed a solemn look. This guy Yi Yu actually had the ability to freeze, which he didn't expect. Moreover, that guy Magellan is not as powerful as himself. However, the strength is not much worse than mine. It was unexpectedly solved so quickly by Yi Yu. Didn't this kid use all his strength when fighting against him? Thinking of this, Kaido was completely speechless. If Yi Yu didn't use all his strength when hitting himself, then Kaido would have to re-evaluate the young man in front of him. Kaido's previous evaluation of Yi Yu was that Roger's strength surpassed Rock's, Conqueror's. I thought this evaluation was already very high. But it wasn't until today, after seeing Yi Yu's true terrifying strength, that I realized that my previous evaluation of Yi Yu's combat power was actually underestimated. There is no doubt that Yi Yu has a Conqueror's that surpasses Rock's. His strength has surpassed that of One Piece Roger. As for whether he has Rock's level strength, it's hard to say. In my own impression, Rock's, like Yi Yu, has the combat power to kill Magellan in an instant, which is infinitely close to the level of a general. Bullet also narrowed his eyes. Even his captain Roger may not have the strength to kill Magellan in 2 moves. Could it be that this boy surpassed his own captain, the legendary One Piece Roger? Thinking of this, Bullet clenched his fist tightly. Roger, whom he had never surpassed, was actually overtaken by one of his juniors. You must not relax. It was at this moment that Bullet formulated a brand new plan of his own, to surpass the Zero Squadron Captain Yi Yu of the Whitebeard Pirates in his lifetime. And as the strongest man on the 6th floor of the great prison under the sea, the Red Earl, a trace of red light appeared in his eyes. Possessing the bat fruit of the animal-type phantom species, he can maintain the appearance and condition of his youth in the form of a vampire. I thought that after my old rivals aged out, I would be unbeatable in this sea, but I never expected that a rising star would actually reach his height. Even the strength may be greater than his own. Under many surprised eyes, Yi Yu calmly came to the side of Ace's cage, although the large iron fence had been blown away by his own aftermath. However, Ace's hands and feet were still locked by thick seastone chains connected to the wall. Captain Yi Yu. Seeing Yi Yu approaching, Ace came out of the shock and tried hard to break free from the chains, but because of the sea tower stone, he couldn't use any strength at all. Don't move, Ace, he said calmly. Yi Yu directly opened his conquerors, and a wisp of rich conquerors appeared, like a burst of white smoke, getting into the key of Ace's shackles. Jingle bell, jingle bell. The sound of chains falling to the ground came from Ace's room. Ace's eyes widened, looking at his hands with a look of disbelief on his face. The sea tower stone shackles that I couldn't open no matter what, were opened so easily in the hands of Captain Yi Yu's Zero Division. The surrounding pirates stared blankly at Ace walking out of the great prison, each one swallowing again, their eyes flickering. Crocodile, Big Wine Barrel, Yuji Shiryu and others all looked at Yi Yu expectantly. Yi Yu, that guy has the ability to take them out. Some of these people have stayed in this dark great prison at the bottom of the sea for decades. They have long had enough of everything here, and nothing is more important to them than freedom. Looking at the expressions of the criminals on the 6th floor of the great prison under the sea, Yi Yu raised the corners of his mouth slightly. Help me attack Marine, and I can release you, what do you think? A lazy voice came. Yi Yu squinted his eyes and looked at these expectant criminals, as if he were a savior. The entire 6th floor of the great prison under the sea is completely boiling. After so many years, they can finally get the long-lost freedom. And the person who gave them freedom is the young man in front of them. Chapter 73 Release the 6th level prisoners. Secure Asset Portal, your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. Of course I do, I've wanted to leave this hellish place for a long time. The Big Wine Barrel, the Crescent Moon Hunter, the Evil Wolf, and the Evil King said impatiently with smiles on their faces. Ha ha ha, you can attack Marine, but I have agreed in advance that I am not willing to be your subordinate. Crocodile's long and magical smile came. I have the same opinion as Crocodile. As long as you don't let me follow you and attack Marine, I have wanted to do it for a long time. It's best to kill a general to prove my own strength and not retreat. Bullet also looked excited. After so many years, Bullet desperately needs a battle to prove himself. It's a good idea to attack Marine as a condition for letting me out, hehehehe. Shiryu of the Rain said with a cold look. Ever since he was imprisoned in the great prison under the sea by Magellan, he had long wanted to fight against Marine, and now Yi Yu gave him such an opportunity. Even the legendary pirate Red Earl showed excitement that he had not seen for a long time. I can finally go out. These dark days are finally over. Let me go, and I will help you tear those bastards from Marine to pieces, Yi Yu. Hong, the Count said excitedly. Everyone turned their attention to the Red Earl's cage. That guy was a legendary pirate. He was shackled with many times more sea-floor stone shackles than the average criminal on the 6th floor. Now, he can come out. Humph, you old monster, what are you going to do after attacking Marine? Bullet's eyes narrowed into a thin line. Well, no comment. The Red Earl raised the corners of his mouth slightly and murmured. Yi Yu showed a satisfied smile. Although each of these criminals had their own agenda, they had all agreed to his request. This leaves only Valder the World Destroyer. Arriving at the cell where Walder was held, a cold air hit his face. Within the huge ice block within his field of vision, an old man with a beard was frozen in it. Yi Yu, who has the ability to freeze, can easily remove the freezing effect. After thawing, Walder's eyes were in a daze for a while, looking at everything around him, and he had a general understanding. What a terrible junior, you actually made the 6th floor such a mess. Wald looked at the mess on the 6th floor and said to Yi Yu in admiration. Hey, Walder, how about I rescue you and make a fuss at the Marine headquarters with me? Yi Yu said calmly. After hearing Yi Yu's words, Walder showed an excited expression. Ha 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 ha, make a big fuss Marine, that's a good idea. It's time for revenge. I will destroy everything that stands in my way, Walder said with angry eyes. He was betrayed by spies planted by the world government and was sent to prison. He will definitely avenge this. Just be a favor, so you don't have to worry about owing anything to the young man in front of you. After the big trouble in Marine, the world is so big, and you have the Momo fruit, why worry about not having a place for yourself? After getting Walder's consent, all the criminals on the 6th floor of the great prison under the sea, except Kaido, have been roped in by him. Regarding Kaido's temper, Yi Yu naturally knew that if this guy was released, Kaido might even sneak attack him if he had a chance. I have already seen the lesson of Kazuki Oden in the anime, and I am not stupid enough to release Kaido. Yi Yu showed a satisfied smile, and a thick fog visible to the naked eye gradually emitted from his body. The white fog condensed into wisps of white smoke and entered the prison door. For these 6th-level criminals, Yi Yu had no intention of condensing Conquerors into shape, but mixed it with the power of rock berries. Penetrate a small amount of Conquerors into the seafloor stone, and then let the magma Conquerors destroy it internally. Boom, boom, boom. Like a bomb exploding, a huge sound came from every dark cell. After a moment of silence, arrogant laughter came from the entire underwater great prison. Ha, 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 ha. I'm finally free. Came the long and unique devilish laughter from Crocodile's cell. Nine-Tails Fox, Big Wine Barrel, Bad Wolf, and the King of Evil looked at the injured and shattered shackles. Although they were also injured by the explosion, their faces were full of excitement. Ha ha ha, I didn't expect that one day we would be able to walk out of this damn great prison. Let's go and turn this world upside down. After Shiryu was freed from his shackles, the first thing he did was to clean his own sword, Thunderstorm. My old friend, I haven't used you for a long time, but you are still so sharp and humming. Shiryu smiled evilly. Bullet stared at his fists and clenched them tightly. The feeling of freedom. Ha ha ha, it's so cool, Lousy can fight against the strong again. Bullet's body was instantly released with Conquerors. Although it was completely defeated by Yi Yu's Conquerors, it still attracted the attention of the surrounding criminals. Even Kaido, who was imprisoned in the prison cage, looked surprised. Although Bullet has been imprisoned in the Great Prison, his strength has not weakened at all. While everyone was shocked by Bullet Conquerors, the Red Earl and the Destroyer of Worlds also walked out of the prison cage at a slow pace, showing no anger or self-respect. Boy Yeyu, we agreed that after helping you attack Marine, we don't owe you any favors. Red Earl and Walder narrowed their eyes and looked at Yi Yu. Yi Yu smiled slightly. Of course. But, since I let you out, I still have to take some responsibility for this world. Chapter 74. Have you ever seen the speed of light? After you go out, how do you compete with the pirates for territory and cause trouble in the Marine Corps? I don't have any objections even if you attack the world headquarters. That's your job. If you dare to touch civilians, I'm sorry, I will go there myself and massacre you. Yi Yu said calmly. As a time traveler, Yi Yu would still feel very sorry if the civilians in the pirate world were destroyed because of his plan. For the sake of the forces behind Marine, these criminals themselves had to be released. So it's best to tell these criminals in advance. Although the tone was very normal, it was very domineering. HMPH, don't worry, I'm not interested in that kind of thing right now. Crocodile lit a cigar and said lightly. Ever since he was defeated by Straw Hat Luffy and imprisoned in the Great Prison under the sea, Crocodile has been thinking here for a long time, and now he has a higher goal. Red Earl and Walder naturally have no objections. Strong men of their level simply don't bother to bully the weak. Although Shiryu of the Rain didn't agree with Yi Yu, he didn't say anything. After hearing this, Big Wine Barrel, Nine-Tails Fox, Evil Wolf, and King of Evil frowned slightly. Not killing civilians. Isn't this world just about the jungle? I thought they had found a very powerful follower, but looking at it now, this boy Yi Yu's philosophy is completely different from theirs. How can you enjoy the excitement of controlling life and death without killing civilians? The four of them exchanged glances. As soon as they got out of the cage, they ran directly towards the exit. Yi Yu, thank you for releasing us. Now we are free, ha ha ha. Big Wine Barrel smiled arrogantly. Deal with that behemoth Marine. It's too dangerous. We don't want to be cannon fodder. Chatter. Crescent Hunter showed his sharp teeth and let out a weird laugh. Let's go. I know we are no match for you, but we can still escape. The Evil King also said. Crocodile, Bullet, and the Red Earl showed contempt for the four of them. They have seen a lot of such dishonest and spineless pirates. Shiryu of Rain, on the other hand, was stroking his saber thunderstorm, looking slightly sideways, looking at Yi Yu curiously, to see how this boy would deal with it. A smile appeared on Yi Yu's face. I had expected that it wouldn't go so smoothly, you vicious criminals. Have you ever seen the speed of light? Yi Yu curved the corner of his mouth and smiled slightly. The yellow light on Yi Yu's body was strong, followed by four conquerors of yellow light, which shot towards the four people at extremely high speeds. The light at the extremely high speed actually created ripples in the air. Rain's Shiryu's eyes were solemn, and this attack method reminded him of a person, General Kizaru. It's quite similar to Kizaru's ability, but in terms of speed, it's much faster than Kizaru. Magellan squinted his eyes and sighed. Four yellow rays of light shot straight into the bodies of the four people including the Big Wine Barrel at extremely fast speeds. Each of the four people showed surprised looks. What kind of weird attack method is this? I just took 2 steps and I was hit. Big Wine Barrel said in disbelief. Could this strong sense of fear be conquerors? Can conquerors turn into light and attack? Crescent Moon Hunter looked at Yi Yu in horror and murmured. The four major criminals who were shot into the body by the four rays of light began to tremble with their limbs uncontrollably and stood motionless. The fear from the deepest part of their souls ravaged their hearts from time to time, and their feet felt like lead. Even the Red Earl and Bullet on the side were surprised again. They originally thought that the kid in front of him had enough attack methods. The invisible defense shield, the ability to freeze Magellan, the hot domineering ability to open the sea tower stone shackles, and now this weird yellow laser is released in front of everyone. God knows how many perverted abilities this kid in front of him has. I originally thought that my ability could be regarded as the most terrifying ability in the world, but I didn't expect that there would be someone with even more terrifying abilities than me. The Red Earl's eyes flashed red as he murmured. That's right, this kid's abilities are so weird that it's impossible to predict what fruit he has eaten. Walder, who possessed the Momo fruit, also narrowed his eyes with a look of shock. Ignoring the fuss made by these vicious criminals, Yi Yu still had a smile on his face. Explode. Yi Yu murmured in his mouth. The yellow domineering energy in the four bodies of the Big Wine Barrel turned into domineering light bombs and exploded directly on the spot. Boom, 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 boom. 4 explosions sounded from their bodies, a burst of smoke appeared, and the entire 6th floor of the great prison under the sea was shaken. Different from Kizaru's light bomb, this light bomb is a fusion of Conquerors, which also contains domineering damage. Coupled with Yi Yu's development of the shining fruit, it is 1 level higher than Kizaru. Therefore, the damage of this domineering light bullet is 10 times more powerful than the light bullet produced by Kizaru's 8-foot Magatama. When the smoke passed, the 4 vicious criminals who had harmed the world all rolled their eyes and fell to the ground, with a lot of blood flowing from their mouths, the intestines in their stomachs exposed, and they lost consciousness. On the side, Fire Fist Ace broke out in cold sweat on his forehead. Is this the thunderous method of Captain Zero? Yi Yu looked at Shiryu of Rain, Crocodile and others. This is how you should deal with such a dishonest guy, isn't it? Yi Yu said with a smile towards the criminals on the 6th floor. They take the freedom I gave them and don't keep their word. This is their fate. Don't worry, you won't die yet, you will just become a disabled person. If you give them freedom and they can't control it, then just stay in this great prison forever. Yi Yu said calmly. Chapter 75 What to do? There's no way to stop them. Even big criminals like Crocodile and No Shiryu felt slightly afraid. The strength of those 4 guys is not weak. How weak will a criminal who can be arrested to the 6th floor of the world's great prison be? The 4 of them were killed by Yi Yu in an instant. If it were him, he would probably end up being killed by Yi Yu in the same way. Red Earl, Bullet, and Walder narrowed their eyes. The kid in front of them is really a scary guy, but he has not yet succeeded in making them frightened. Yi Yu, we helped you because you let us out, not because we were afraid of your power. Bullet said. Bullet expresses the thoughts of Red Count and Walder very well. If it was rumored that these old monsters, attacked Marine because they were afraid of Yi Yu, then they would not be able to survive in this sea in the future. Therefore, it is better to explain some things clearly. That's natural. It's just a reciprocal transaction between us. I don't have any other intentions. Yi Yu said with a smile. In this way, these extremely vicious criminals from the undersea great prison became a powerful force and headed towards the exit of the impelled down city. Facing such a combination of the 6th level of the great prison, the defending Marines were like decorations. Yi Yu did not need to take action. The jailers who came to stop them were directly obliterated by these criminals at will. The entire great prison under the sea was in chaos, and arrogant laughter resounded throughout the dark great prison under the sea. Killing all the way, Yi Yu and others arrived on the 1st floor of the undersea great prison in a short while, and walked swaggering towards the gate. This place was heavily guarded by 2,000 people. Seeing the arrival of Yi Yu and others, everyone panicked. These guys. Gugao Zihong, Yi Yu, Bullet, Rainy Shiryu, Ace, my god. These are some super pirates. What to do, we can't stop them at all. Hannibal, the deputy warden on the side, hurriedly dialed the number of Marine headquarters. Report to Warring States Fleet Admiral. The great prison under the sea has been completely lost. Sengoku, who was in Marinafando and was observing the movements of the Whitebeard pirates, turned completely gloomy after hearing Hannibal's report. What's wrong, Warring States? Lieutenant General, he asked suspiciously. The gloomy-looking Sengoku coughed twice. That guy Luffy broke into the great prison under the sea. That's not a big deal. There is another even more terrifying thing. Sengoku clenched his fists with a look of despair on his face. Is there anything else, Lieutenant General, he asked with concern. I have never seen the desperate look of Buddha in the Warring States period. Needless to say, it must be a very terrifying thing. Warring States swallowed, stabilized his emotions, and showed a very embarrassed expression. The criminals from the great prison on the 6th floor of the sea have escaped collectively. Buzz. After hearing this, even Garp on the side looked nervous. Did everyone run away? Garp asked nervously. The situation on the 6th floor is currently unknown, but those who have been confirmed to have escaped include Ace, Crocodile, captain of the 2nd Division of the Whitebeard Pirates, Shiryu of the Rain, Walder, Bullet, the descendant of the Devil, Yi Yu, and Gugao Hongre de Field. Warring States clenched his fists and gritted his teeth and said fiercely. Gee, the atmosphere is extremely weird. When Ace is about to be executed, Ace escapes from prison. This is undoubtedly a huge shame for Marine. And what the escape of these criminals means to the world, Garp knows only too well. There were many criminals inside who had fought hard to catch them, but now, they were all released. I'm afraid this world is going to be in chaos. Lieutenant General, he also had a look of fear in his eyes. The first few were fine, but the last few, like Yi Yu, Bullet, and Red Earl, would cause endless trouble to the entire world once they were released. Do we still expect ourselves, a group of old people, to arrest them? If you don't count on them, but on these new Marines, who will be their opponent? Just after making the call, Hannibal felt a powerful Conqueror's attack, and then fell to the ground, unconscious. On the other side of the prison, Luffy, who was unaware, was still running towards the 6th floor of the great prison under the sea. After Yi Yu and others had left the undersea great prison for a long time, Luffy arrived at the 6th floor of the undersea great prison. Seeing the situation on the 6th floor, Luffy was completely stunned on the spot, swallowing his saliva frantically. Wow, Luffy opened his mouth wide in shock for a long time. There were devastation everywhere. Except for the outermost waterproof layer, almost all the walls on the 6th floor collapsed and were in ruins. Even the iron fences that surrounded the criminals were uprooted, and sea tower stone chains were still scattered all over the ground. A mess. The entire great prison seemed to have experienced a natural disaster. Warden Magellan was covered in blood and was frozen in a huge block of ice. There were 4 prisoners lying next to them, also covered in blood, and they didn't know whether to live or die. Who on earth possesses such terrifying power to make the most terrifying 6th level become like this? The Demon King, wearing heavy makeup on the side, also widened his eyes. His lips trembled, his face looked incredulous. I am very aware of Magellan's terrifying strength, as well as the criminals on the 6th level, the Evil Wolf, the Nine-Tails Fox, the Big Wine Barrel, the Evil King. These characters were all so heinous and cruel that they were even erased from history. Needless to say, they are powerful, but these strong men were beaten to death one by one. Which monster did this? Chapter 76 The Whitebeard Pirates Rage and Revenge Marine Headquarters. Secure Asset Portal. Your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. Marine Headquarters, Marine Fando, Sengoku Fleet Admiral dialed the number to 5 elders immediately. On the Red Earth continent, the Holy Land Marie Joa. After hearing the Warring States report, the 5 old men showed extremely angry expressions. Wearing a dark green suit, the old man was bald, had a splayed beard, and had a Madara birthmark on his forehead. He squinted his eyes and spoke in a bad voice. What are you doing for food? On the eve of the Warring States period, the criminals from the great prison under the sea escaped en masse. The old man said in a bad tone. The other 4 old men also frowned. The Marine is just the outer facade of world government. But if criminals from the great prison under the sea escape collectively, the world will laugh at the entire world government. The old man wearing a dark blue suit, long white straight hair, and a long beard continued to be angry, said. The Buddha Sengoku from Marine Headquarters had an ugly look on his face. I'm really sorry. This action was my dereliction of duty. Warring States said through gritted teeth. I will catch these escaped criminals within a month. After hanging up the phone, Zongguo sighed and touched his forehead. Now I feel like I have a huge headache and am about to explode. I originally thought about retiring smoothly and honorably, but who knew that such a big mistake would happen? On the side were Garp and Lieutenant General He, who gave Sengoku a sympathetic look. Within 1,000 meters of the deep sea, a huge pirate ship sailed safely on the bottom of the sea, but was not corroded by the sea water. The reason why this is possible is because this huge pirate ship has been specially coated. It was the Moby DK, the main ship of the Whitebeard pirates. At this time, the captain of this ship, Whitebeard, stood proudly on the bow of the ship, full of dominance. Marco came to Whitebeard. Dad, Malinfando is coming. Shall we attack directly? Marco asked seriously, looking at Whitebeard. Whitebeard held his supreme sharp knife, Kong Yunchi, in his hand and placed it vertically on the deck. His clothes swayed as his momentum rose. Kuhahaha, we can't attack now, let's wait first. Whitebeard said calmly. The surrounding corps captains were immediately confused. Diamond Josie and Foil Beasta also rushed over after hearing what their father said. If Marinefando doesn't attack, should he wait until Marine executes Ace before attacking? Dad, if you don't attack, will it delay the rescue of Ace? According to the announcement issued by the Marines, Ace's execution time is coming soon. Foil Beasta reminded. Kuhahaha, have you forgotten my plan with that boy Yi Yu? Whitebeard said with a mysterious face. Only then did the captains of the Whitebeard pirates remember that Father Whitebeard had been planning something with Yi Yu. When I asked my father about it, he still pretended to be mysterious and refused to tell me. He threatened to tell everyone about his plan when he got to Malinfando. Now that we have arrived near the sea area of Marinefando, isn't it time to announce the plan? Dad, what kind of plan is it? Can you tell us now? Marco, Diamond Josie, Beasta and other captains all asked with curious faces. We will wait for Yi Yu's order before dispatching. If nothing unexpected happens, Yi Yu has rescued Ace from the great prison on the seabed now. Whitebeard Edward Newgate said with a smile. Just now, I received news from Yi Yu, everything went smoothly. In fact, Whitebeard originally wanted to tell everyone about his plan with Yeyu, but Yeyu insisted that there was a spy from Marine in the Whitebeard pirates, and they needed to wait until they arrived at Marineland and wait for Yeyu to complete the mission before he could do anything about it. Tell everyone the news. That's why I didn't tell everyone. Ace was rescued. The entire Whitebeard pirates immediately looked excited. Dad, are you telling the truth? Ace was rescued. Great. Marco said with a smile on his face. That's great, Dad, Yeyu is really reliable. Diamond Chowzi's face was full of excitement. The entire Whitebeard pirates are excited. So Dad, can we return now? Phoenix Marco said excitedly. Whitebeard's eyes looked at Marine Fando from the bottom of the sea, with a solemn expression on his face. Marine, as long as he wants to destroy me, we will never be able to avoid him, kids. Instead of doing this, it's better to catch Marine off guard this time. Whitebeard said seriously, squinting his eyes. Yi Yu not only saved Ace, but also recruited a large number of external forces, waiting to attack with us. Attack from inside and outside. Including the group of criminals on the 6th floor of the great prison under the sea. Let the Marines know that there will be no good consequences for offending our Whitebeard pirates. Whitebeard's heroic laughter struck again. The entire Whitebeard pirates were infected by Edward Newgate's laughter, and their morale was boosted. The criminals on the 6th floor, those legendary figures, were also won over by Captain Yi Yu. Marco on the side said in shock. I am relatively familiar with the 6th floor of the great prison under the sea. It is said that terrifying monsters such as World Destroyer Walder, Red Earl Redfield, and Devil Descendant Bullet were imprisoned in that prison. Whitebeard nodded slightly to Marco, showing a confident expression. The atmosphere of the entire Whitebeard pirates group is rising again. Yes, this matter can't end like this. We, the Whitebeard pirates, are not the ones you can mess with if you want. If we don't teach these damn Marines a lesson, they will definitely target our Whitebeard pirates. Let the Marines know how powerful our Whitebeard pirates are. This time we will definitely beat them without any backhand. Destroy Marine headquarters. For a time, the Whitebeard pirates who had just arrived in Marineland were full of morale and shouting loudly. Chapter 77. How could you forget the feeling of fighting? On the other side, after Yi Yu caused a stir in the entire undersea Great Prison, he and the criminals on the 6th floor of the undersea Great Prison boarded the warship of Vice Admiral Mole. Yi Yu also took advantage of this moment to open his system panel. After defeating Magellan, according to the system rewards, I received a total of 400 Conqueror's points this time. And because Yi Yu successfully rescued Fire Fist Ace, the system also specially gave Yi Yu an animal bird fruit, a phantom beast in the form of a phoenix. Host. Yi Yu. Conqueror's attribute points. 7,611. Devil fruit abilities. Shock ability, advanced magma ability, advanced search ability, intermediate, shining fruit, advanced frozen fruit, advanced appearance fruit, intermediate, phoenix ability, intermediate. Devil fruit. Tanuki fruit, 3 artificial devil fruits, African hyena fruit. Skills. Flash 100 meters, Conqueror's passive defense shield Shinra Tenzheng, self-created Conqueror's fusion. Items. Healing medicine, ham, burger, coke, red wine, turkey, salad. Does the phoenix have the ability? This fruit is of great significance to Yi Yu. This fruit is combined with the fusion of one's own Conquerors. Even if one's own Conqueror's barrier is broken, it can be quickly repaired. Unless the enemy's attack exceeds your Phoenix's recovery ability, your Conqueror's transformation methods will be endless. Thinking of this, the corner of Yi Yu's mouth curled up unconsciously. People on the side felt Yi Yu's smile, and Bullet walked towards Yi Yu. It seems like you are very happy about something, Yi Yu. Bullet said curiously. For a strong person like Yi Yu, Bullet really likes to communicate with him. Haha, it's nothing, but the battle is coming, I'm looking forward to it. Yoruichi turned to look at Bullet and said with a smile. A big battle. Bullet looked forward to it. This militant was already eager to fly to the Marine headquarters and have a battle with the strong men from the Marine headquarters. With the help of the triangular ocean current, we set off in the direction of Malinfando. This warship was filled with powerful pirates, and the entire warship was filled with arrogant laughter. Among them, Bullet is the most excited. Although he has been chained by sea tower stone shackles for so many years, his warlike heart and hot blood have been restless. For so many years, even though I was trapped in the great prison under the sea, I kept practicing, waiting for one day to escape, show off my skills, and prove that I am the strongest Bullet. Although Shiryu of Rain, Walder, and Red Earl were not as excited as Bullet on the surface, they were still trembling with excitement. After all these years, I can finally get out. Be sure to enjoy this free body and penetrate the Marine headquarters. Finally, the outline of the Marine headquarters, Marine Fando, gradually emerged. The leader, Yi Yu, slowly walked towards the bow of the warship. A gust of wind blew by, and Yi Yu's clothes swayed. A kind of courage that is not angry and self-defeating is fully displayed. We're finally here, Marine Fando. Yi Yu narrowed his eyes and spoke slightly. After all these years of staying in the great prison under the sea, don't forget the feeling of fighting. Yi Yu said with a smile to the criminals beside him. The criminals in the great prison under the sea laughed one by one. Forgot the feeling of fighting. Even if we forget our names, we will never forget the feeling of fighting, Yi Yu. Especially Walder, who found dozens of cannonballs directly from the warship. Arriving in front of a cannon, the muzzle was aimed at Malinfando. Doubled, 100 times the cannon. Walder activated the Momo fruit, which was a watermelon-sized cannonball just now, and its size instantly increased 100 times. The speed of the shells fired from the giant cannon also increased by 100 times, and with a bang, they flew towards the Marine headquarters, Marinafando, at extremely high speeds. The terrifying cannonballs made ripples one after another in the air, and the air seemed to freeze at this moment. The Marines on Marinavando looked up at such a terrifying cannonball, and they all showed horrified expressions. Are you kidding? This is a cannonball. Damn it, how can we resist such a huge cannonball? It's over. This terrifying shell exploded at the Marine headquarters. It will definitely kill a group of people. Sengoku, who was located behind the Marine headquarters, looked at the cannonballs in the sky that were enlarged by the Momo fruit. His glasses reflected a white light and he frowned. Such a terrifying shell can't go wrong. It's that B*********** D Valder the World Destroyer. Does that B********* D want to take revenge on us? Sengoku said almost roaring. Garp and Lieutenant General Crane on the side showed solemn expressions. That guy Walder has a strong ambition to subvert the world government, and he is on the same level as Whitebeard and Roger. General Kizaru looked at the cannonballs in the sky and trembled his lower lip. Pirates are really scarier than the last. After saying that, Kizaru gathered a ball of white light in his hand, and when the light was at its strongest, he fired it directly. 8-foot mirror. The yellow light, after hitting the buildings on the ground and reflecting several times, shot straight towards the huge cannonball in the sky. As soon as the huge cannonball in the sky came into contact with the yellow light, it exploded directly, with a loud bang, like thunder from the sky. The entire sky turned red, and a heat wave appeared in the sky. Even Marine on the ground felt the scorching temperature of the explosion shock wave. Chapter 78 Golden Lion Shiki is here. Walder, who was sitting on the warship, let out a unique laugh. It's not over yet, let's fire 100 times the cannonballs. Boom, boom, boom. Continuous shelling sounded, and the shells amplified by Momo fruit were fired one after another. Hey, Walder, you guy, we haven't even started yet, but you are really stealing the spotlight. Bullet licked his lips and said with a smile. Is this your ability, Walder? Crocodile blew out a smoke ring and said with solemn eyes. The huge cannonball blocked the sunlight, leaving a huge shadow on Marine's headquarters, Marinavando. A total of 10 huge cannonballs rushed towards Malinfando. Marine Fando's sailors were shocked again, and they all swallowed their saliva crazily. The cannonballs are as big as meteorites, there are actually 10 of them. How can we resist now? If it explodes at the Marine headquarters, the consequences will be unimaginable. What should I do? Are you going to escape this time? Looking at the densely packed giant cannonballs in the sky, all Marines in Marinavando showed expressions of despair. Fleet Admiral had a solemn look on his face at the rear of the battlefield. He clenched his fists and a white light reflected from his glasses. Even Garp and Lieutenant General he had a look of fear in their eyes. Walder, this B*************** D, 30 years ago was killing gods and Buddhas, whether it was pirates or the forces of the world government. If he bumps into you, you will be completely destroyed. In the end, it was himself and Sengoku who captured Walder. Unexpectedly, this dangerous guy came for revenge. That B********** D Walder is serious about it. 3 generals, stop Walder's attack. Warring states roared loudly. The 3 generals looked solemn and took action at the same time. Aokiji's arm was filled with coldness, and his ice elemental arm turned into an ice crystal phoenix. Ice cubes burst into the pheasant's mouth. Aokiji's body was filled with cold air, white cold air also emerged from his mouth, and he opened his mouth slightly. With a cry of phoenix, the ice phoenix flew towards the sky. The cold air hit the face along the way, and even the air was frozen wherever it passed. Kizaru also flew into the sky, spreading his arms, and yellow light bullets condensed around him. Where's the scary guy, the 8-foot Magatama? The light bullets that had gathered around Kizaru just now turned into powerful yellow cannonballs, blasting heavily into the sky. Several ripples spread in the void, and Momosuke came from the air on moonwalk, the sword in his hand glowing red. An arc-shaped slash about 100 meters long appeared in the sky. At this moment, the air seemed to be split. The attacks released by the 3 generals collided with 10 cannonballs blessed by Momo fruit in the sky. There was a constant rumbling sound, and the entire sky seemed to be exploded. In an instant, a huge energy storm formed in the center of the collision, sweeping across the entire island. The strong wind caused the faces of the Marines to become deformed, and pieces of shell debris carrying flames continued to fall from the sky to the Marine headquarters. The 3 generals took action at the same time, and Walder's attack was finally resisted. On the warship, Walder was breathing heavily, but he was not convinced, his eyes were solemn. You bastards, Marines, all the strong ones are here. The real battle has just begun. Walder still looked excited, the time for his revenge had finally arrived. Yi Yu looked at the prisoners beside him who were eager to try, and showed a satisfied look. It seems that everyone is very motivated. Let Marines feel our fear. Yi Yu said lightly with the corners of his mouth raised and his eyes looking at the huge Marine in the world headquarters. Closing his eyes slightly, the conquerors in his body rose, and an invisible force dragged up the warship Yi Yu was riding on. The warship that was still sailing on the sea just now was flying in the sky and arrived at the Marine headquarters, Marineland. The Marines naturally noticed this strange warship, with shocked looks in their eyes. Hey, look at that thing in the sky. The Marines looked at the warship above them and asked in confusion. In the sky, there are warships that can only sail in the sea. What is going on? The Shichibukai on the battlefield also looked to the sky. Moonlight Moria looked confused. That one in the sky is a warship. How is that possible? Doflamingo, Mahawk, and Empress Hancock all looked to the sky, their eyes locked on the warships in the sky, and their hearts were slightly shaken, and they were thoughtful. Sengoku, who was located behind Marine, suddenly looked at the sky, with surprise in his eyes. There is only one person in this world who can make warships appear in flight, and that is Golden Lion Shiki. A-hole, is that guy Shiki the Golden Lion here to join in the fun? After saying that, Garp and Lieutenant General he were shocked. Golden Lion Shiki, if he joins forces with the Whitebeard pirates to attack the Marine headquarters, then today will really be a fierce battle. Maybe, we can penetrate the world headquarters. Golden Lion Shiki, the uncrowned king, was the one who once competed with One Piece Roger for supremacy. The warships in the sky were getting closer and closer to Malinfando, and their outlines gradually became clearer. The entire Marine population was swallowing their saliva crazily, guessing who the characters in the ship were. Finally, the outlines of the people on the boat gradually became clear. Warring States Fleet Admiral's eyes showed shock. Aren't these the prisoners of the great prison under the sea? I didn't see Shiki at all. Do they also have the ability of Golden Lion Shiki? How is this possible? Sengoku looked confused and stunned. Staff officer he on the side narrowed his eyes, looked serious, and said slowly, it's possible. Don't forget the Warring States period, there is that boy Yi Yu among them. Yi Yu, UB D. Thinking of Yi Yu, Zhongguo clenched his fists. Maybe it was Yi Yu who released those criminals from the great prison under the sea. Chapter 79 Arriving at the battlefield. Secure Asset Portal, your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. The entire Marine was also shocked. Looking up at the warship in the sky, the figures of the criminals from the great prison on the bottom of the sea appeared inside. The entire Marine area became restless. That's the devil's descendant. Bullet. Oh my god, that genius Bullet from Roger's pirate ship actually appeared. Not only the Bullet, but the World Destroyer is also on their ship. Wasn't it the ship where Walder fired the giant cannon just now? Wait, isn't that Ace? No wonder Ace hasn't been escorted for a long time, and the Marine headquarters has cut off the live broadcasts everywhere. Don't pay attention to Ace at this time. Didn't you see the guy behind Yu? Oh my god, if I guessed correctly, he should be the Red Earl. I used to be in Cyborg. I was lucky enough to meet Lord Kong when he was a sailor. A veteran swallowed his saliva and said in shock. Heavenly Yaksha Doflamingo from the Marine headquarters looked at the battleships in the sky, licked his lips, and his red sunglasses reflected a bright light. Foo, you are really getting more and more interesting. A new era is indeed coming. Doflamingo's eyes showed eagerness. Mahawk's eyes also exuded an extremely bright light, just waiting for Yu's order to kill Marine without leaving a trace. The World Economic News Agency team, who had already taken their position in the sky, took out their cameras and started filming crazily, unwilling to miss every moment. Breaking news. Breaking news. This is a force that cannot be underestimated. If the Whitebeard pirates come again, Marine will face the greatest pressure in history. Morgan said with great excitement. If you can report this big news to the world, you will become a person in the history of journalism. This is something that money cannot buy. As Yu's ship docked, warring states frowned. All the escaped criminals from the great prison under the sea had arrived. Red Earl, Bullet, Walder, what's going on? Why are they sitting on the same ship to attack our Marine headquarters? Lieutenant General, he said with a solemn face. These bastards, I will arrest them one by one. Garp clenched his iron fist and said angrily. Warring states frowned, hurriedly took out the phone bug in his hand, and roared loudly. The entire army listens to the order, activates level 1 combat readiness, and attacks. As the warring states roared, the Marines at the front took the lead in attacking. Come on. The elite soldiers summoned from all over the world, although they were terrified in their hearts, obeyed orders, which was the bounden duty of soldiers. Under the orders of the Supreme Fleet Admiral, they all attacked Yu and the others. At the same time, the forts located on the commanding heights of Marine Fanduo all aimed their guns at Yu and the others. The dense shells appeared again, giving people a sharp sense of oppression. Facing Marine's usual attack methods, Yu smiled slightly and showed a look of disdain. Hey, the battle has begun, and I don't have time to save you. Bullet laughed arrogantly and said excitedly to Yu, stop looking down on others, boy, we don't need your help. Yu smiled slightly, then I'll be relieved. After saying that, Conqueror's Yuli ignored the forts in the sky and rushed over first. The undersea great prison criminals behind him were not idle either. They started their own fighting spirit and rushed forward. You brat, you stole our limelight. This is not okay. Walder casually snatched a pistol from the sailor. Momo, 100 times the gun. World Destroyer Wald, with his sword still young, shouted and fired 6 bullets in succession. Pung, 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 pung. A burst of smoke dissipated, and 6 bullets, which were enlarged 100 times in size, were fired from the barrel of the gun. Even the speed of the bullets accelerated 100 times. When it fell on the ground, it was even more powerful than a cannonball. It blew up groups of Marines in an instant, leaving 6 huge deep pits on the ground. It's Walder, the World Destroyer. The Marines said in horror. Shiryu of Rain, holding his own sword Ryu, holding a cigar in his mouth, showing an evil smile. The dark-armed domineering energy is condensed on the blade. The thunderstorm blade is like a layer of dark black armor, reflecting a white light under the sunlight. HMPH, cold, my black sword hasn't killed anyone for a long time. Shiryu smiled evilly. After saying that, 3 sharp jet black slashes appeared in the air, forming a half-moon arc, speeding towards the enemy. After 3 sharp slashes, Marine screamed and blood flew out, drawing red arcs in the air. Shiryu of Rain, the former warden of the undersea great prison, that guy is a first-class swordsman. Then a long laugh came. Crescent Dune. After Crocodile's arm grew huge, it turned into a crescent-shaped sand blade, and he struck the sand with one strike. The Marines who were touched looked at him in horror. The water in their bodies was drained instantly, showing horrified expressions. B*********** D Crocodile, the Marines said with chapped lips. A gust of wind blew by, and the water in these people's bodies was drained, and they fell to the ground one by one, turning into shriveled mummies. Ha 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 ha, you guys are really full of energy, now it's my turn. Looking at the battle around him, Bullet, the descendant of the devil, licked his lips, his eyes showing excitement. Stepping on his own heavy steps, ghost energy emanating from his body, at this moment, Bullet turned into the devil of hell. I will prove that I am the strongest. Bullet said excitedly. The extremely dark-armed color spread on his arms, and the powerful and heavy black fist shocked the surrounding air with a buzzing sound of terror. Boom. After one punch, the Marines screamed, and a huge pit with a depth of 100 meters suddenly appeared on the ground. The Red Earl, who was wearing a large blood-red cloak, a blue rose around his neck, and a slender bat-handled umbrella in his hand, looked at the scene of the battlefield, his face still expressionless. Instead, he fixed his eyes on Yu, who was rushing to the front. A gust of wind blew by, and the blood-red cloak on his body fluttered in the wind. The Red Earl, who was standing at the back and watching, mysteriously disappeared from the spot. Without a trace, even the breath cannot be captured. Of all the people present, only Bullet, the descendant of the devil, noticed the strangeness of the Red Count behind him and smiled evilly. That guy Red Earl is really an old monster. Even my experience and color can't capture him. Roger is indeed right, the Red Count's attack methods are extremely weird. Bullet thought a little when he saw the Red Count's weird abilities. Yi Yu, who was at the forefront of the battlefield, looked at these marine minions with a look of disdain. It's too early to deal with me. Chapter 80 Tear Marine to Pieces. It's time for the Whitebeard pirates to show up. After saying that, Yi Yu directly sent a signal to the Whitebeard pirates under the deep sea, and then continued walking towards Marine. Conquerors emerged from his body, forming a no-man's land 100 meters around Yi Yu. As long as a Marine rushes into this area, the Marines will be squeezed by invisible pressure, as if they have lost their center of gravity, and they will fall to the ground one by one. Even Marines' major generals and lieutenant generals fell to their knees one by one under the pressure of Yi Yu conquerors, their bodies trembling non-stop, and the weapons in their hands had already slipped. Yi Yu strode towards the Marine headquarters building directly in full view of everyone, no one could stop him. The undersea great prison criminals behind Yi Yu widened their eyes when they saw Yi Yu's behavior, and they all showed shocked expressions. Ha 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 ha, this kid Yi Yu is really crazy. He walked straight to the Marine building with conquerors alone without even making a single move. This kind of courage makes me, Bullet, ashamed. Bullet grinned and laughed crazily. I thought that all the strong men in this world were as old as me, but I didn't expect that there are still young strong men like Yi Yu. It's really the waves behind the Yangtze River that push the waves ahead, haha. Walder threw a huge shot. After the cannonball, he said with emotion. At this moment, the intelligence soldiers responsible for observing the situation outside the sea widened their eyes, looked solemn on their faces, and began to roar at the top of their lungs. Appeared. It's the Whitebeard pirates. Huge fleets emerged from the sea one by one and were traveling together. Rogue Knight Tama, Brother Descartes, the Great Vortex Spider Squad. These guys are all captains of the Megatron side in the New World. Now, under Whitebeard's call, they all appeared at Marine headquarters. But among these ships, the main ship of the Whitebeard pirates, the Moby DK, was not found. Fleet Admiral Sengoku hurriedly took out his telescope for observation, his face full of gloom. Where is that guy with Whitebeard? Hasn't he shown up yet? That guy must not come back again. In the Warring States period, when the chicken was stolen but the rice was lost, the mentality made a 180-degree turn. From the previous expectation of Whitebeard's arrival, to the current hope that Whitebeard's guy will not appear. My own Marine headquarters can no longer withstand the attacks of so many strong men. Suddenly, the sea water in Marine Vendome Bay began to surge, and a large number of bubbles appeared. A huge figure appeared from the bottom of the sea, Gululu. A huge pirate ship appears, it is the main ship of the Whitebeard pirates, the most powerful pirate group in the world. Moby D*K appears. The surrounding Marines were even more frightened. The great prison incident under the sea meant that they had no time to provoke the behemoth Whitebeard pirates. Tap. Whitebeard held the Kong Yunchi in his hand and walked up the stairs on the ship step by step in full view of everyone. Looking at Marine Fando, who used to be solemn in the past, but now there is a war, and the screams of Marines are everywhere, Whitebeard also sighs with emotion. Hoo-ha-ha-ha-ha. Is this the plan that boy Yi Yu told me? It's really yours, Yi Yu. How can we be left behind by this boy Yi Yu? Come on, boys. Tear Marina Fando to pieces. Let the whole world see the consequences of offending our Whitebeard pirates. Not even if you are Marine. Whitebeard swore extremely boldly. Following Whitebeard's order, the entire Whitebeard pirates rushed to the Marine headquarters like bees pupae. Whitebeard was not to be outdone at all, the corners of his mouth were slightly raised, and the fighting spirit in his body rose, showing an unparalleled heroic spirit. On the Moby DK, white-bearded Edward Newgate squinted his eyes, looked at the Buddhist warring states on the high seat of the execution platform in the rear, and suddenly thrust his cloud cutter on the deck. Immediately afterwards, the muscles on Whitebeard's arms bulged. A ball of white light gathered in Whitebeard's hand, and the light became stronger and stronger. You can feel the exploding energy inside, which can destroy the entire world. With that terrifying power in his hands, he just grabbed the air, and in an instant, the air in Malinfando seemed to be torn apart. The entire Malinfando began to tremble violently. The Marines in Marineland felt the earthquake and showed frightened expressions. What kind of weird ability is this? Is it capable of causing earthquakes? Oh my god, the whole of Marinaventer is starting to tremble violently. Fleet Admiral Sengoku's face became even more ugly, his glasses reflected a white light, and his lips slowly opened. It's not over yet, the sea earthquake is coming. The sea earthquake is coming. Sengoku never expected that as soon as Whitebeard appeared, he would give Marine such a great gift. The entire sea area of Marinvando was completely boiling due to the earthquake. The sea water connecting the heaven and the earth surrounded Malinfando, and it was about to swallow up Malinfando. The Marines who were fighting looked at the huge waves in the sky, and each of them showed a look of fear. We haven't caught the attack from the criminals of the undersea great prison yet, are the Whitebeard pirates serious about it? This war, will we lose? Some Marines have already shown their fear of fighting. This time their opponents are fundamentally different from the pirates of the Grand Line in the past. After all, any one of them is a super pirate who shocked the world. The members of the World Economic News Agency who were above the sky looked at the huge waves below, and their eyes widened one by one. Oh my god, is this a battle between extremely powerful men? The destructive power of a natural disaster is so terrifying. The members of the news agency swallowed their saliva one by one and said seriously. Brothers, the hot air balloon has risen 10 kilometers. This big war has exceeded my expectations. Be careful not to be affected. Morgan said in horror. Under Morgan's order, the World Economic News Agency's hot air balloon had to rise 10 kilometers toward the sky above again. Even Garp took a deep breath and looked seriously at the huge waves that were about to swallow up Malinfando. A-hole. That guy with Whitebeard, the sea earthquake he just launched has already caused a tsunami. Garp clenched his fists and said with a frown. Warring States, you really provoked something you shouldn't provoke this time. Lieutenant General, he looked at the entire Malinfando with a pale face. Sengoku clenched his fists. Now that things have happened, it is useless to say this. Sengoku regrets provoking the Whitebeard pirates more than anyone else. Chapter 81 The Great War begins. Secure Asset Portal, your trusted source for secure and informative digital assets. Register with your real phone number and get bonus just for registering. Try for free. Aokiji, stop this tsunami. Sengoku's eyes were bloodshot and he issued an order to General Aokiji. Now in the entire Marine headquarters, only General Aokiji's freezing ability can stop this overwhelming sea. Aokiji looked at the sea water in the sky with a solemn expression. Without hesitation, he directly stepped on the moonwalk and flew into the sky. Ice Age, Aokiji shouted with serious eyes. A large amount of frost emerged from his hands, and the cold air that was enough to freeze the world appeared in the sky above Malinfando. Aokiji shot the frost condensed in his hands towards the sea water in the sky. The sea water that was turbulent just now, boiling and filling the sky, now strangely formed layers of ice, gradually spreading to the entire sea. In less than a moment, the tsunami that had threatened to engulf the entire Marineland just moments ago came out. It has been completely frozen at this moment. Aokiji, who was walking on the moonwalk in the sky, frowned tightly as he watched the pirates on the ground break through Marine's encirclement layer by layer, showing an ugly expression. Was the battle to annihilate the Whitebeard pirates turned into a battle of defense? Seeing the tsunami he caused being frozen by Aokiji, Whitebeard's face showed no anger at all. It was only a matter of time before he took down the Marine headquarters. Aokiji, you little kid playing with ice cubes. Whitebeard said jokingly, staring at Aokiji. On the battlefield, the tsunami subsided, allowing many Marines to breathe a sigh of relief. However, because of Aokiji's power, the Whitebeard pirates finally found a foothold. One by one, pirates jumped from the ship and attacked the Marine headquarters in large numbers. Yi Yu and the criminals on the 6th floor who were at the front of the battlefield looked at the Whitebeard pirates charging behind them, and they all smiled. It looks like God is going to destroy the world government, haha. World Destroyer Walder said with a laugh, and then the Momo Fruit's attack hit 100 times, once again blasting a big hole in Malinfando. Bullet also looked excited. Whitebeard, the strongest man in the world. He was on par with Roger back then, but now Marine is going to be doomed, ha ha ha. At this moment, shouts came from the sky, and a huge warship, for some unknown reason, slipped down from the sky. This moment attracted the attention of a large number of people. The Marines all looked to the sky, frowning and showing surprise. As the huge warship gradually fell, the figures of the people on board could be seen clearly. These people are low-level criminals who escaped from the great prison under the sea, including Luffy, Buggy the Clown, Ivankov of the Revolutionary Army and others. Even Fleet Admiral Sengoku's attention was attracted, that is, Monkey D. Luffy. Garp opened his mouth wide, and snot flowed out of his nose in surprise. His head was instantly filled with black lines, and Garp clenched his fists. Luffy, this kid, didn't think he had made enough trouble in the Grand Line, and actually came to participate in this war. Luffy, who fell to the ground, saw Ace's figure and showed excitement. That's great, Ace, that's great, you're really saved, wow wow wow. At first, I didn't believe that you were saved by the Whitebeard pirates. Now that I see you, it's really great, Ace. Wow wow wow. The excited Luffy actually started crying. Ace, who fired a fire fist in front, noticed Luffy's arrival and showed a look of joy. Luffy, don't come here. Just follow Whitebeard. He can protect you. Luffy. Ace shouted excitedly to Luffy behind him, his eyes gradually becoming moist. Whitebeard naturally noticed Luffy's presence. Hey, you are the Straw Hat Boy, you have a good momentum, but you are too crybaby. This will not make you one piece, kuhahaha. A heroic momentum came over him instantly. The plot is similar to the original work. Luffy, a fool, actually competes with Whitebeard in terms of momentum. Neither one wants to accept the other and wants to become one piece. Hey, old man, I heard that you want to be one piece. There is only one piece, and that's me, Luffy. Luffy said, clenching his fists to Whitebeard, who was several times bigger than himself. Whitebeard and Luffy looked at each other. As the war entered a fierce stage, Luffy actually started to argue with Whitebeard. Surprised by Luffy's momentum, Whitebeard looked up and down at Luffy, Ace's younger brother, and the red-haired Shanks' straw hat was given to this boy. Looking at the straw hat on Luffy's head, Whitebeard sighed slightly. Is this the future that Shanks is betting on with his arm? The momentum is okay, but it's a pity that the future era does not belong to Luffy. But it was the pervert who belonged to his own ship, Captain Yi Yu of Division 0. When it comes to selecting people, I still have the most discernment. The boy he brought back 10 years ago has undoubtedly changed the trend of the world. The future belongs to Yi Yu. As for Luffy, although this guy is quite imposing, compared with Yi Yu, he is not on the same level at all. Whether it is courage, strength, or strategy, Luffy is far inferior to Yi Yu. Hoo-ha-ha. Now is not the time to fight for One Piece. Straw Hat Boy, Ivankov, do you have the guts to follow me in the crusade against Marine? Whitebeard put the cloud cutter in his hand upright on the ground, and there was a heroic wave. The momentum came. Luffy pumped up his fists. Those damn Marines actually captured Ace, I won't let them go. Watch out, I won't lose. Hey, you guy, originally, the S*********** King didn't want to cause trouble. But Straw Hat Luffy insists on participating in this war, and the Monster King has no choice but to follow Luffy. After all, Luffy can be the biological son of the revolutionary dragon. A large-scale war has also entered a fierce stage here. Yi Yu is located at the front of the battlefield. Within a radius of 1 kilometer around Conqueror's cage, as long as Marines get close to this area, they will fall to the ground without Yi Yu having to do anything. Yi Yu just used Conqueror's strength and walked directly in the direction of the Marine headquarters building next to the Warring States period. Slightly behind Yi Yu are the 6th-level criminals who were released by Yi Yu from the Great Prison Under the Sea. Each of these people were once famous pirates, and they all had an invincible momentum. To deal with these charging Marines, kill them instantly with just a few moves. These vicious criminals were not as quiet as Yi Yu. The entire battlefield was filled with the screams of Marines. The Whitebeard pirates who were at the very back of the battlefield were naturally the last ones to appear. They successfully landed with the help of the power of Aokiji's frozen sea. A large number of Whitebeard pirates rushed towards the Marine headquarters, shouting and braving Marines' artillery fire. Although these pirates were not very strong, with many masters such as Yi Yu leading the way, and under the protection of their respective captains, there was basically no death. On the other hand, the entire Marine, although there were a large number of people, was overwhelmed by the pressure, and the casualties were very heavy. Chapter 82 Yes, Shichibukai, you can do it now. Morgans in the Sky and other people from the World Economic News Agency refused to let go of any wonderful moment and took crazy photos of the battlefield. Click, click, click. The dazzling photo-taking flash continues. This is history, this is history. Morgans, the president of World Economic News, said with great excitement. Such a majestic and huge war is the most majestic war one have photographed since I was born. Even the original battle between Golden Lion and Roger One Piece cannot be compared with this war. At this time, a young secretary Ellie came from behind Morgans. Reporting to Mr. Morgans, according to reliable information, Marine and the others have cut off the live broadcast to all parts of the world. Ellie said softly, holding a cup of steaming coffee and placing it in front of Mr. Morgans. Ha 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 ha, stupid Marine, it seems they have realized that in this war, the goddess of victory is on the opposite side. This is really a great thing for our World Economic News Agency. Morgans said excitedly as he took a sip of the steaming coffee. In this way, our intelligence is unique in the world, ha 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 ha. Morgans flapped his wings and took out the camera again to record the entire battlefield. Warring States, who was located behind the execution platform, looked at the situation on the entire battlefield with a sad expression on his face, clenched his teeth, and his fingers kept trembling angrily. The 100,000 elites he had worked so hard to gather were completely inadequate in the hands of the pirates in front of him. There was a very strange and ugly expression on Warring States' face. Originally, everything was going according to his plan, but that boy named Yi Yu completely disrupted his plan. When the war was about to begin, that boy Yi Yu actually succeeded in freeing the criminals on the 6th floor of the undersea Great Prison and wooed the group of lawless world-class criminals. This undoubtedly brought huge consequences to Marine pressure. Now, first, the Marine Fleet Admiral, I'm so embarrassed. The goal was not achieved, but instead it brought such great trouble to the Marine headquarters. Picking up his phone speaker, Zhongguo looked solemn. Shichibukai, if you don't take action now, when are you going to wait? Sengoku said solemnly, frowning. Yi Yu also broke through the defense of the first level of Marine minions and slowly came to Shichibukai. The surrounding Marines all seemed to have been poisoned when they approached Yi Yu, their eyes were dull, and they fell to the ground unconscious. Like a fool, Moria gathered the shadows in his body and synthesized them into a spear. Shadow horn gun, Moria yelled. A huge black shadow gun shot towards Yi Yu heavily. The black spear kept expanding in Yi Yu's eyes, gradually occupying Yi Yu's entire field of vision. Clown, Yi Yu said disdainfully. Still not dodging or avoiding, he walked straight forward. The huge shadow horn gun, carrying a cold chill, hit Yi Yu's Conqueror's barrier. The Conqueror's barrier rippled slightly, but the shadow horn gun was indeed hit into darkness and disappeared in the sunlight. Moria's attack was completely ineffective against Yi Yu. At this time, Moria also felt personally the gap between himself and Yi Yu. Moonlight Moria frowned, cold sweat broke out on his forehead, showing a look of fear, and began to seek help from the Shichibukai around him. Do it quickly, this kid is not easy to deal with. Moria said with trembling lips. Yi Yu raised the corners of his mouth slightly, and at the same time looked at the force that cannot be ignored in this sea, Shichibukai. Yes, Shichibukai, why don't you take action yet? Yi Yu said lightly, with a hint of joking in his tone. After hearing these words, Mihawk's eyes shone brightly. HMPH, I've been waiting for this moment for a long time, Yi Yu. Mihawk raised the corner of his mouth and said pointedly. Heavenly Yaksha Doflamingo showed an evil smile. HMPH, cold, I choose to join you in this war, you. Doflamingo licked his lips, excited. The next moment, Doflamingo's fingers shook, and 5 colored threads appeared, attacking Moonlight Moria. A wire like a steel wire was cut into Moonlight Moria's chest, deep enough to penetrate into the bones, and bright red blood spurted out directly from Moonlight Moria's chest. Moonlight Moria widened her eyes and looked at Doflamingo in shock. You be ********D, you actually betrayed Marine. Moonlight Moria said in disbelief. HMPH, It doesn't matter whether first betray Marine or not. After all, I am on the side of justice. This is the most important thing, Moria. Don Quixote Doflamingo's magical nature smiled. What nonsense are you talking about, Heavenly Yaksha? Moria looked confused. Doflamingo's rebellion against Marine was so sudden that Moria couldn't figure out the reason for Doflamingo's rebellion. When did Doflamingo collude with the Whitebeard pirates? Kaido behind him, didn't he always regard Whitebeard as his mortal enemy? Before he could react, a high-heeled shoe quickly appeared in front of Moria's field of vision, leaving Moria no time to avoid it. Fragrant feet. The tail of the high-heeled shoe kicked Mariah hard in the abdomen, and the area where it was kicked turned into a stone. Mariah fell to the ground and clutched his lower abdomen, with a look of pain on his face. Even you, Empress Hancock actually rebelled against Marine, Moria said in surprise. It is possible that this guy Doflamingo sold Marine for profit. But, Empress Hancock, no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't figure out the reason for her rebellion. Could it be that Empress Hancock doesn't want Marine's protection of Nine Snake Island? I am so beautiful, no matter what I do, I will be forgiven. Since they are teammates of Luffy's brother Ace, I will naturally choose to help them. Empress Hancock had long hair, looked up at the sky at 180 degrees, pointed at Moria and said. Foo, did you turn into looking up because of your extreme contempt? You are really a clown, Moonlight Moria. Doflamingo said sarcastically. On the other side, Mihawk picked up the black sword in his hand and rushed towards the battlefield. A sharp slash blocked the energy shell of the pacifist bear and successfully rescued the first team of the Whitebeard pirates. The bear turned to look at Mihawk, but did not attack. Mihawk showed a strange expression, and the corners of his mouth trembled. Tyrant Bear, this powerful guy, was transformed into a cold machine. It's really a pity. The next moment, Mihawk did not hesitate and struck again with a flat strike, and buzz, a pitch-black arc-shaped strike appeared. The pacifist who was standing opposite Mihawk just now had his head cut open, revealing various machine roots. Sizzle. The wires inside short-circuited, and with a bang, the pacifist finally exploded. Chapter 83 Calling for support, Marine can't stand it anymore. The rescued pirates of the Whitebeard pirates looked at Mihawk with wary expressions. What's going on? Mihawk, the world's greatest swordsman, actually helped our Whitebeard pirates. The pirates of the Whitebeard pirates said with surprise. Mihawk looked calm. I came here to save you on the orders of your Zero Squadron Captain Yi. You are not a match for the pacifist yet. Next time you see him, don't rush forward rashly. After saying that, Mihawk took his own black knife and rushed towards the next pacifist. The rescued pirates were stunned for a while, and then let out warm cheers. Ha, Captain Yi, I really belong to you. Has even the world's greatest swordsman been won over by you? Marine, today is your day of death, go ahead. The cheering Whitebeard pirates charged at Marine again. Fleet Admiral Sengoku, who was located at the rear of the battlefield, saw this scene and almost collapsed on the ground. What I didn't expect was that even Shichibukai and the others would rebel. Now, the entire situation could turn against Marine. The vicious criminals in the great prison on the 6th floor, coupled with the world's most powerful pirate group, and the support of most of the Shichibukai, even the Marine headquarters may be unable to resist. Even the Shichibukai rebelled. We will lose this war, Sengoku. Lieutenant General, he said with a look of horror in his eyes. Sengoku, do you think we have to report to the 5 elders to call for support? Even Garp touched his forehead and said with a melancholy look on his face. In this current situation, even if he and warring states take action, they may not be able to save the situation. Although the number of enemies is sparse, there are too many extremely powerful enemies. Warring States Fleet Admiral looked melancholy. At this time, he went to the 5 elders to call for support. He had no place to put his old face. The plan to execute Ace and defeat the Whitebeard pirates this time was planned by me personally. I originally expected to achieve a feat before retiring and make the world government happy, so I retired early. But I didn't expect that now, I would get angry. There is no merit, but the Marine headquarters is in danger. If you tell the 5 elders, you will become a loser in the world government. Warring States clenched his fists and looked at the battlefield with a solemn look on his face. The lives of 100,000 Marines are at stake here. Even if you are scolded as a loser, you still have to call the 5 elders. Otherwise, you will really become a sinner throughout the ages. At this time, Warring States felt extremely regretful in his heart as to why he had to cooperate with Blackbeard in exchange for Ace and prepare for execution. Now I simply cannot bear the anger of the Whitebeard pirates. Thinking of this, Sengoku held his head and his hair was very messy. He took out the phone and dialed the number leading to Mary Joa's 5 elders' office. That's right, Shichibukai and the others actually joined the Whitebeard pirates for some unknown reason. Sengoku clenched his fists, gritted his teeth, and said viciously. I'm sorry, Marine just can't stand it anymore. That's right, Red Earl, Whitebeard, Bullet, Hawkeye, Yi Yu, these strong men cannot be defeated by just me and Garp. You can handle it. In the mysterious house of Holy Land Marie Joa, the 5 old men frowned tightly. I provoked so many people who shouldn't be provoked at once. The bald old man in a dark green suit with a splayed beard said with his eyes widened. Warring States, you are in trouble this time. The old man wearing a black suit, with white curly hair, a fluffy white beard, a flat hat and a scar on the left face said angrily. I am entirely responsible for this big incident. I hope you can support me, otherwise the Marine base will really be occupied. Facing the Warring States Fleet Admiral's request, the 5 old men fell silent. After a brief exchange, the 5 elders slowly spoke to Sengoku, and told Sengoku the 5 elders' plan. I'm sorry. After this incident is dealt with, I will personally apologize. Warring States hung up the phone helplessly, his face seemed much older. Sengoku. Garp and he on the side wanted to comfort him, but seeing Sengoku's appearance, they couldn't speak. The S-class emergency defense plan has been launched. The world government will recruit all available forces near Marinavando in the short term to support us. What we have to do is to delay them. Warring States said tiredly. It's still unknown whether he will be removed from office after this war is over. Under Yi Yu's operation, the Shichibukai camp that Sengoku Fleet Admiral had painstakingly and carefully laid out was completely disintegrated. Go to hell, Moria, I can only blame you for being so stupid that you can't even see the situation clearly. Doflamingo shook his fingers and said contemptuously to Moria on the ground. 16 bullets of holy bullets. God thread. Heavenly Yaksha grinned and said ferociously. Mariah, who was already injured on the ground, showed a horrified look in his eyes, grabbing something randomly with his hands and feet. Doflamingo, you guy. Cold sweat broke out on Mariah's forehead. There is no doubt that this is Doflamingo's strongest move. If he is hit by these moves, he will definitely be poked with 16 bloody holes on the spot. Whoosh whoosh. The thread pillar condensed from the Doflamingo thread fruit, wrapped in an armed color, fiercely attacked Moria. Rumble, rumble, the jet black wire pillars collided with the ground, explosions continued to sound, and a large amount of dust was stirred up in the ruins. After the dust cleared, Doflamingo showed a suspicious expression. What a strange ability. This guy Moria mysteriously disappeared from the battlefield. Doflamingo murmured. Without paying attention, Heavenly Yaksha's fingers continued to shake, and a Marine Major General felt as if there was an extra thread in his body. Immediately afterwards, the Major General lost control of his body and actually took his own saber and slashed at a companion next to him. A trace of blood streaked across the scene, and the felled companion fell to the ground with a look of confusion on his face. Don't come close to me, don't come close to me. My body doesn't obey me anymore, the controlled Major General shouted loudly. The members of the World Economy News Agency in the sky looked at these rebellious Shichibukai with surprised expressions. Even the Shichibukai rebelled. I really didn't expect this. Morgan said suspiciously. Chapter 84 Giant Lieutenant General. Just a trash fish. Every Shichibukai has privileges given by Marine. The position of Shichibukai is a title that pirates are eager to grab. Pirates without a certain degree of influence really cannot obtain such a title. As one of the 3 forces in the sea, Shichibukai should not be underestimated. I thought that people like Shichibukai would help Marine, but it seems that I was wrong. In this war, the final winner will most likely be the Whitebeard pirates. If this is the case, this war will be an epic-making battle. Morgan said excitedly. Then the value of this news is priceless. It cannot be measured by money at all. The first-hand information we obtained this time. Morgan said excitedly. The news agency staff in Morgan's birdhouse all showed excited expressions following Morgan's, but there was one exception. Ellie, who had brought coffee to Morgan's before, looked a little weird for a moment, but she regained her composure in a very short time. Behind Morgan's, she looked at Morgan's, seemingly thoughtful. On the battlefield, Yi Yu smiled slightly and continued to move towards the Marine headquarters building. You guys take your time, Shichibukai, I'll go and destroy the Marine headquarters building for him. The real battle has just begun. Yi Yu murmured with the corners of his mouth raised slightly. Those little Marines before were really not interested in fighting. But now it's different. After breaking through Shichibukai's defense line, he is getting closer and closer to the Marine headquarters building, and he can clearly feel that the combat effectiveness of nearby enemies has increased by more than one level. It looks like it's time for me to take action. Boom, boom, boom. Just when Yi Yu was about to take action, the whole earth trembled. Oh, 8 giant lieutenant generals suddenly appeared in front of him, with different weapons in their hands. Some held long knives, some held giant axes, and a female giant lieutenant general held a long spear in her hand. It seems that after I expanded Conqueror's range of influence by several kilometers, the pressure on Conquerors has indeed become less. If it were Conquerors within a few hundred meters, it would be impossible for a small character like a lieutenant general to still have a weapon in his hand. Even if he didn't faint, he would still have to kneel in front of him. Boy, we won't let you go over and destroy the Marine headquarters base. The Marine base located in the rear seemed in danger under the flames of war. Only the seagull logo, which symbolized peace, could give Marine some comfort. The base of Marine is directly under the world government and is considered a symbol of peace in the Great Pirate Age. I will not allow a brat like you to get close to him. The giant lieutenants held weapons in their hands and their huge figures completely blocked Yi Yu's path forward. In front of these giant lieutenant generals, Yi Yu looked very small. They're just a bunch of idiots brainwashed by the world government, Yi Yu said calmly. At the same time, Yi Yu twisted his neck, curled the corner of his mouth, and spoke slowly. Also, I forgot to tell you, I don't like to look up and talk to people, Yi Yu said with disdain. The conquerors that had previously covered a large area regrouped in Yi Yu Zhou, and their momentum kept rising. Incomparably majestic and turbulent, the conquerors turned into a real form, all pressing on the giant lieutenant generals. Before these giant warriors could react, they instantly felt as if they were carrying mountains on their backs. The ground that their feet stepped on collapsed instantly, and the huge force spread, and the earth cracked. The legs of the giant warriors were actually pressed into the ground. Buzz. The heads kept buzzing, and the internal organs of the 8 giant generals were churning. The fear from the deepest part of the soul was completely exposed at this moment, constantly eroding the hearts of these giant lieutenants. The giant lieutenant general, who had looked very imposing just now had his eyes widened and stared blankly at Yi Yu, his lips trembling constantly. How terrifying the conquerors, actually suppressed 8 of our giant lieutenants at once. Ignoring the words of the giant lieutenant general, Yi Yu showed a disdainful look and continued to move forward. The giant lieutenant general behind him only felt that the pressure on his body had doubled again, and the people were directly pressed into the soil. Due to the huge body of the giants, 8 giant pits with a depth of 100 meters were dug out on the ground of Marine headquarters. The giant lieutenant generals in the middle of the giant pit rolled their eyes and all fainted. Looking at his hands, Yi Yu had a relaxed smile on his face. Sure enough, his conquerors was more powerful than before. Now Yi Yu has begun to look forward to it. When his conquerors continues to break through and reaches the level of nearly 10,000 points, will he just start conquerors and clean up these lieutenant generals like marine minions, just like trash fish? At that time, if I fight against multiple lieutenant generals, I won't have to go through such trouble. I will have to use conqueror's transformation attack method. Wouldn't it be easier to simply pass by them and let them fall to the ground? Yi Yu thought with a smile in his heart. Above the sky, Morgans took out his photographic equipment and pointed it at Yi Yu. It's really surprising, Yi Yu, just in one meeting, he defeated 8 giant lieutenant generals at once. Horrible monster. Listen up, I will personally follow the captain of the 0 Division of the Whitebeard Pirates. Morgans looked excited. At the same time, he kept adjusting the angle of the photographic equipment in his hand, preparing to give Yi Yu the most handsome close-up. Morgans has decided in his heart that the main cover position of this great war is not Garp the Whitebeard or the Red Earl, but leaves the cover position to Yi Yu. This hot Doran who has repeatedly brought explosive news to his World Economic News Agency. On the battlefield, after defeating 8 giant lieutenant generals at once, there are only a few people who can rush into the 1-kilometer radius of their conqueror's circle. The criminals of the great prison on the seabed behind him are also following closely in his footsteps. Doberman, Ghost Spider, Stoloberg, Huo Shaoshan, these powerful lieutenant generals and the general candidate T. Dolphin are preventing Bullet and other 6th-level criminals from attacking. However, in the face of these vicious prisoners, even the powerful marine lieutenant generals are powerless. They can only retreat while fighting, using a delaying plan to prevent these pirates from attacking too quickly. Without the disturbance from the miscellaneous fish, the conquerors in Yi Yu's body filled up again, and the rich conquerors condensed into shape, and a huge fist condensed above his head. At this moment, Yi Yu is ready to directly attack the marine base. Chapter 85 Another battle with the 3 marine generals. Sengoku, who was located at the rear of the battlefield, narrowed his eyes and showed a horrified look. What does that be do Yi Yu want to do? Warring states roared angrily. He rushed over so quickly, and Yi Yu's attack method gave people a very uneasy feeling. Conqueror's transformation, this move is really tricky. Sengoku turned on his knowledge and said with a frown. As for the scary guy, there are only 2 conquerors in this world who can transform into him and rocks. Back then, Rock's conqueror's move caused me a lot of trouble. Garp looked solemn and fell into memories. But this kid is less than 20 years old. He has reached such a height at such a young age. It's really scary. If this kid is not eliminated today, I'm afraid he will be even more terrifying in the future. Maybe, he can overthrow the entire world. General Hujong looked at Yi Yu's conquerors transformed into a conquerors full of explosive power. The giant fist had a gloomy look on his face. Sengoku's heart trembled, and his face became even more ugly. Back then, Yi Yu, a boy, used this move to destroy the main gate of Marine's headquarters with one blow. 3 generals, move out. Stop Yi Yu and kill him on the spot if necessary. Warring State's eyes were locked on Yi Yu tightly. With a serious look on his face, he took out the phone bug, sprayed saliva and ordered Xingzi loudly. The current Sengoku no longer felt the same way when he saw Yi Yu for the first time. At that time, he was just amazed at Yi Yu's various abilities, and also thought about capturing Yi Yu and studying it as a modified machine for Marine. But now, Marine himself is in trouble, and he no longer has the leisure to do any research. Don't be careless about a scary guy like Yi Yu. After hearing the order from the Warring States period, the 3 generals' eyes changed, their faces solemn, they stepped on the moonwalk in the air, stepped on the ripples on their feet, and rushed towards Yi Yu at top speed. Morgans, who was in the sky, saw Marine dispatching 3 generals at once, showing a cautious look. 3 generals were dispatched at once. Yi Yu rushed too far forward. I'm afraid it's dangerous. Morgans frowned. Although I am the president of World Economic News, I am not on the side of any force in this war. However, the shock Yi Yu gave him was too great, and he also allowed himself to shoot valuable news. Now Morgan's heart was leaning towards Yi Yu's victory. Come on, Yi Yu, don't get knocked down like last time, Morgan said encouragingly. On the battlefield, Kizaru, who still had the speed of light, arrived first. A yellow light exploded, and Kizaru came within 200 meters of Yi Yu in just a blink of an eye. Terrible monster, we won't show mercy this time. 8-foot beautiful Magatama. Thousands of yellow light bullets condensed on the sky, sliding out a group of arcs in the sky. The air seemed to be rubbed into sparks, and they hit Yi Yu heavily. On the other side, Aokiji also activated his frozen fruit, and the cold air in his body went straight up. The icy cold air condensed into 4 icy spears, and shot towards Yi Yu at high speed with the cold and crushing cold air. 4 frozen arcs were left in the entire space, and the air was frozen. Momosuge was not to be outdone. The golden red light in his hand glowed brightly, and a terrifying red slash wave appeared. The bright and sharp sword light aimed at Yi Yu, showed a half-moon arc, cut through the air at a terrifying speed, and arrived in front of Yi Yu. The 3 forces were all combined into one blow. It was obvious that the cooperation between the 3 generals was now much stronger than the first time they fought against Yi Yu. Yi Yu's iron fist condensed from Conquerors, with the whistling wind, collided with the combined attacks of the 3 generals in the air. Boom buzz. In the collision zone, a huge air explosion sounded in the sky, like the sky exploding. In an instant, a powerful energy storm swept around, and the entire Malinfando exploded with strong air currents, blowing strong winds. Marine, who was within 5 kilometers of Yi Yu, was blown away on the spot. All the eyes of Marine Fando looked in Yi Yu's direction. Bullet's clothes danced in the wind, he licked his lips and looked at Yi Yu's back. What an arrogant guy, fighting 3 Marine generals alone again. Bullet said excitedly, with a little more admiration in his eyes. After Shiryu of the Rain chopped down several more Marine major generals, he wiped the blood on the thunderstorm in his hand with a handkerchief and narrowed his eyes. HMPH, Yi Yu, you went too far alone and faced 3 generals at once. I'm afraid you will be defeated like last time, right? But it doesn't matter. Your character is not someone I want to follow. I only follow you to fight because you saved me. I don't owe you anything now, your life or death has nothing to do with me. Shiryu said with a devilish smile. Fire Fist Ace fighting against Fire Mountain. He looked in the direction around Yi, showing a worried expression. Captain Yeyu, you must be careful, Ace said nervously. Facing the attack of 3 generals alone, even Dad can't do it. Whitebeard, who was at the rear of the war, looked at Yi Yu, quickened his pace, and was gradually approaching the center of the battlefield where criminals were fighting in the great prison under the sea.